Can you all hear me? We're a little early today. Well, actually a little late. And then I changed. I hope you can hear me. Let me just... Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Thank you, sweetie. Can you hear me? Let me fix my headset. It's supposed to be on at 5. Oh, good. I'm glad you can hear me. It's supposed to be on at 5. Was running a little late because I was making arrangements for my dad who passed away, which we'll talk about. I have cried and cried and cried. And so I apologize. I was supposed to be here at 5, and then I moved it to 5:15, but I was ready. So I said, okay, I'm going to jump on early. So happy to see you all. Yeah, my dad passed away unexpectedly. And I'm going to have a little bit of wine, if that's okay, in his honor. Y'all who know me know I've been talking about life like I could feel. I know. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. What happened is what's the saddest. I will tell you what happened, because I swear to God, there's a reason that I went through everything I went through. You can't go through everything I went through with my dad and not believe and not know in my heart that it's something bigger than just that experience. Like, it's got to be my other calling, like my next calling in work. And I don't know if that means writing or what, but I have experienced every side of injustice with the legal system and the healthcare system when it comes to my dad with dementia and the lack of help in Canada here. And I'll tell you what happened, and then we're going to talk about Jack and Lilly. I got some stuff to tell you about that too. I know who did it, and the RCMP know I know. Yeah, I'll leave that there. And I regrettably do not think they are alive anymore, which I've also told the RCMP. But yeah, I'll defer that for a second. But yeah, I was up. I barely slept. I've barely eaten in a week between the move and my dad. So if hopefully I don't get a little drunk off this little bit of wine. I was up till 3:00 in the morning, bawling and looking at videos and pictures. And I found for you guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to show y'all. Remember when I told you I channeled Liberace? I found those pictures with my dad and I wearing all his jewelry when I was channeling him. And so I'll show you those. And so what happened, though, was, you remember I told you that he had pneumonia? Well, I knew he intuitively had pneumonia, but the care home where he was placed said they thought he had pneumonia when they called me on Wednesday, not yesterday, but a week ago Wednesday. They were putting him on antibiotics and going to watch his vitals. And I'm like, watch his vitals? Like, this sounds really serious. And no. He's fine, Leanne. Like, this is, they call him, like, they know me extremely well. Like, he's been there for 2 years ago, in March 29th, this past 2 years, 2.5 years and a few months ago. And they know him very well, and they know me very well. And so, you know, I trusted that he was going to be fine. They were watching his vitals and busy with the move, and didn't hear from them. He was admitted by ambulance with pneumonia Monday morning. The long-term care home never called me. He was alone. And I found out at 4:30 at night as my daughter walked in with my son-in-law with the trailer into the other house. I'm in the new place now. I'll show you that someday when there's not boxes to the ceiling. And the admitting nurse said, oh, he's fine. He's just on, on oxygen, and he's going to be fine. He's already responding to the antibiotics. I'm like, well, why was I notified? Like, oh my God, like, I'm in the middle of a move. I was babysitting my 2 grandsons, which I can't even hear my own brain. Like, I texted my granddaughter, like, I love them. They're my grandsons, but I text her like, shoot me now. They're 4 and 2, and they are a freaking handful. I couldn't have made a call in if I wanted to. I couldn't even hear my own name being thought of. Like, it was so loud in my house. They were screaming, an empty house, jumping. And so they leave at 7:30, and I call, and my dad's in a panic attack and ripped his oxygen out because he's got no TV. And my dad was there all day alone. Well, he was admitted. I found out, I read the records last night, at 11 a.m. They had all the test results back at 12:30, and they didn't call me till 4:30 to tell me he was admitted. And so I said, Dad, I'm coming. I talked to the nurse at 4:30 when they admitted him. I said the same thing I said to the long-term care home. Oh my God, should I be concerned? She said, well, he's on high levels of oxygen, or he's been admitted for pneumonia, but he's already responding to the antibiotics, which in my head, I'm like, that seems kind of fast. Like, this doesn't take 24 hours to respond. Like, I'm like, but I don't know, like maybe they got supersonic stuff. So I take that call, literally hang up the phone, and literally within 30 seconds, my daughter and son-in-law show up at the trailer. So then when they leave and my grandson's at 7:30, I'm not screaming. I call and get a hold of my dad, and he is TV. I'm like, oh my God, Dad, calm down, panics, just take a deep breath. Oh my God. And I'm going to get the nurse now. Can you find a button? Can you find a button? Like, he's ripped his oxygen out. The hospital took me an hour to get that effing nurse to go in and replace his tube, and then to get TV for him. And then I got a call, and then called back and to talk to him again, saying, hey, Dad, I got your TV. I got your TV. And the only solace I have was that I found out afterwards. So I got a call from the ER doctor at 11:05 p.m. And I talked to him. I said, Dad, I was just moving today, and we had 43-degree heat wave. They canceled schools, which is Celsius, which is like 115 or 20. It's up like way the F up there in temperature. And I'm coming tomorrow because I was told that he was going to be fine. And I got a call at 11:05 that he's passed, and I'm sitting in bed, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even know he was there till 4:30. I was in the middle of the move. I was told he was going to be okay. What's happened? Like, I was in shock. I'm bawling. Like, I would have been there, like, had I known, like, what the hell? And thank you, sweetie. I've cried a lot, but my dad's already been with me. So I've cried a lot, but only because I felt horrible that he went through that alone and that nobody called me. So there's an investigation being launched, and I asked for an autopsy because I don't even know if he died of pneumonia or heart attack. So then then the doctor calls me. He says, I think you need to come in and see your dad. I said, yes. And they took him to the opposite end of the city, and they've had issues with, they only speak French to English people, even though they're in the city of Ottawa. And I didn't know that. My friend told me that. And when I got there, the nurse, my daughter's a nurse, as y'all know, refused to speak to me in English in front of my deceased father. And my daughter, being a nurse, was floored and said, I am writing a formal complaint. It was horrible. The same nurse that wouldn't take the phone when he was struggling for oxygen and go into his room for an hour. When I spoke with the funeral home this morning, the funeral director, she said, oh, we hear about that hospital all the time. The fact that the long-term care home left him alone in the ambulance with a dementia person with dementia, which he's on a dementia wing for, didn't call me as his power of attorney and a state of the executor of his will, and the hospital didn't call me, is unacceptable. So the only solace I have, when I spoke with the doctor, she said, well, he was watching hockey at 7:30 and he was so happy, was that I got his TV up and running. I got the nurse in to fix his oxygen after a while. It took me 4 calls, okay? Literally, I screenshot it because the hospital knows there's a report coming in and I'm a complaint coming in. And screenshot of 4 calls, got him on the phone again, said, Dad, your hockey's in. The nurse walks in the room. I'm talking to my dad and picks up the phone and hangs up on me. Yeah. The last time I talked to my dad was the nurse deciding I was done talking to him. Yeah. I don't have very many positive words to say about this hospital. And then talking to the funeral director today earlier and hearing they are notoriously bad is absolutely disgusting. So the only solace I have was the doctor said he was watching hockey at 10:30. He was beyond excited. My dad adores hockey, and I couldn't afford cable for him in the long-term care home, so he had Disney and Netflix because he also loves movies and like all the TV shows and stuff, and he had Crave, but no cable TV. So he was in his glory watching hockey, loves hockey, like golf and hockey. And he went to the bathroom, and the PSW came back, and he was having incontinence issues. And my daughter, being a nurse, said they're known when they have when they're elderly to cause heart attacks when they're like forcing themselves to go to the bathroom. And he went to the bathroom. The PSW said that when he came out of the bathroom at 10, something. He went into the bathroom at 10. He can sometimes be in there 10 or 15 minutes. So presumably he came out 10 or 15 minutes later. He didn't look well. And they had to code blue him and resuscitate him and get the ER doctor up at 10:48. And he died. So I now understand. I've all been telling you, I know my life's going to change. I feel this calling to write, but I'm not feeling like fictional writing. And I'm going to be writing. I already applied and put a 55,000 word book proposal into HAOS. I told you about inspired caregiving and a lack of compassion. I called another funeral home today, and the guy was like, or yesterday rather, before today. And the guy was like, he didn't even say, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm like, I understand. Like, you have to tell me legally and all this stuff, but you haven't even said you haven't even said, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for your loss, he says. I said, you know what, dude? Fuck you. You will not be my choice. Like, it's just appalling. And then I also want to write about karmic healing and stuff. So my son-in-law's mother is a friend of mine. I've known her, and I think I told you, dragon boated with her long before my daughter and her son even got married or met. And she said, Leanne, just write, just start writing. And even if you'll see what the book ends up being, and there may be 1 or 2 books. But then my dad sent me a message this morning as well. When I was setting up for this live video, my dad and I used to watch Nancy Drew together when he lived with me. And didn't VDQ suggest Nancy Drew as a search for this video, which is, was my dad, because there's no way that Nancy Drew is related to Jack and Lilly, but he knows how much I love Nancy Drew. I read every book when I was a kid. And so when we were in Florida and COVID, we would watch it every week, the modern day Nancy Drew. And that's the second half of my book series. Is the spiritual part is the first part. It's a book of 7, and the second series is another book of 7, and then it goes into the Nancy Drew. So I thought that was really interesting. And I walked into my apartment last night, and you all know I am a master healer, number 44. It's my favorite number. And I walk into my apartment, and the clock had stopped at 4:44. I'd lost power. And I'm like, I sat in bed and I pulled up pictures of my dad and videos, and we did so much with him, and I cried. And it's just like the guilt that I wasn't there, but I also know he knows I would have been there. I also, after he passed, I ran to the hospital and spent 45 minutes with him and hugged him and took a picture of him. I know it sounds weird. I just wanted a picture of him resting. And I know I'll be channeling him. I feel like my visions are coming back. I had some visions, and I think it was destined. I knew And I've been saying to my kids, like, I know this 5 years, 5.5 years with my dad and the stress and the finances and the trauma, like, I'm ready to let go of it. And I think I've told you guys that on this live. I just didn't know that that meant my dad was going to, like, I didn't make the connection. So I know he knows, and in spirit, I talked to him. And because he had dementia, I've been working on a soul to soul connection with him, if that makes sense. And so I think, like, I did some Reiki with him, my hand and his heart and my heart. And I just prayed with him and talked to him and hugged him and told him how much I loved him. And I know he knows without a shadow of a doubt that I would have been there. And at least with the dementia, like, he would have retained the conversation for 30 seconds, if like 5 seconds later, he would have forgotten. So he's always literally living in the moment. So watching his hockey and going to the bathroom, he would have known, like, spiritually, he just like remembered speaking to me, maybe not remembered, but like his heart was full, his spirit was full. Like he knew I was there. He knew I was there, hands down. And it was so interesting. I was bawling my eyes out last night, and he came through, and he came through in his undemented form, because that was what I missed so much about him. I worked with him for 10 years, and being a lawyer and a municipal lawyer, and he was worked with all the builders and was a land developer, and he was super smart, and he made us jewelry, and he it's like could paint and could cook and decorate. All of his model homes he decorated. He was like Martha Stewart, watch, Eat Your Heart Out. Like, he was so talented in all these aspects and an amazing writer and speaker. I got goosebumps when I said that, because I feel like I will be channeling him with true crime cases, and I got validation goosebumps, and in my writing. I think he's my new guide. So I came in and I was bawling, and he came in his state prior to the dementia, where he was such a wit of and a balance of intuitiveness. And it was his mother that had the psychic abilities, which I didn't know about until just recently. And my dad has always been very intuitive. So I'm really not surprised that that lineage, my dad's side, is the side that will be in my guidance now. Like, right after he passed, I was seeing a vision of him, and he said to me, "Hey, I got people to talk to. I love you. I'm here. I'll be here." And I made him promise to me. Oh yeah. I made him promise to me after the hospital the next day. I was stuck in traffic, and I made him promise to me, "Dad, you need to come every day. I don't care if you flash the light. You need to come every day." And I'm stuck on the Queensway, and I had just sold his leather couch, his favorite couch, to my friend of 42 years, his brother, and my friend Jim that's in the wheelchair. And Jim had just left. My daughter and I lifted it on, because he's in a wheelchair, on the back of his truck. And I'm on the Queensway heading to the apartment here from the other place, crying and just stuck in traffic. And I said, "Dad, I want you to always show me a sign." And doesn't a picture of my dad flash on the screen, a memory from 3 years ago of him on the leather couch that Jim just took, eating a Greek souvlaki that I had made him for supper with rice and asparagus. And why the Greek souvlaki is so important was because I'm moving with the only day I have my son-in-law's trailer. I'm told he's okay at 4:30, and we had just eaten Greek souvlaki salad while we were moving. And I was living with this guilt, like, holy, if I'd known it was serious, I would have run, like, and dropped everything. And that, to me, I'll show you the picture, was his way of saying, "I know you would have been here. I know you didn't know." And so while I will bawl my eyes out a lot, I just, and I have, and I will continue to, and I miss him so much. I just know he's going to be with me. And so maybe mediumship will become another part of what I offer, because the peace of mind of knowing that, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, when I was bawling last night, he came in And I'm going to show you a few pictures if that's okay. I'll just remove this and I'll show you in his honor a few pictures, if you'll let me. And he came in last night, and all I could feel was in my heart warmth. It's okay, Leanne, I'm here. Like, he was calming me down over his loss. Like, I just, yeah. And so I'll show you a few of these. I'll show you the picture that, and so I send it to my friend Jim, and he goes, "Oh my God, like just everything in the picture that you sent me, Liam, like the food and everything." I'm like, "Food? Like what food?" And Jim's like, "Well, I don't know." Like, and I'm like, "That's the couch my friend Jim had just left on. And that's him with like the Greek, like shish kebab. And we had ordered a gopher Greek. I had ordered my grandson's rice, potatoes, and a gopher Greek with tzatziki, and we had Greek salads with chicken. And I just like, oh, Dad. So yeah, so I sent to Jim some pictures. I'll show you a few pictures of him. Like he just, look at this. When my grandson was born, I got him a great grandfather cup. He had, his hair was a little long one day, and then I took some clips of him. He never taught my friend Jim how to golf, but his memory, he thought he did, so I just videotaped it and I sent it to Jim. And then yeah, I won't do this. I might do a little video. Oh, this one was when he said, oh my God, this is a video. He just died laughing. He's like, I said, "Dad, those sideburns, we were going out somewhere." He's like, I'm like, "You got to shave those sideburns." He's like, "Yeah, I'm not a hippie anymore." And it's just like some of the things he said. Because of the dementia that's called confabulation, and where they say stories that aren't true. And like he thinks he ran a marathon, a Boston Marathon. Like all these videos I took of him. He is a handsome guy. We had, this is St. Patty's Day. We had green. He's not allowed to drink alcohol because he was an alcoholic, so it was alcohol-free beer. And yeah, so him golfing, like anyway. He was just, everybody loved him, and he was so pleasant. I said, like, we had fun, and we had fun. Like, and he's always waving and like peace out. And yeah. Anyway, it's him like with dementia and blind in one eye. They wouldn't do eye surgery on him because of his dementia. So totally blind in one eye. And just because he golfed so much, the reflex, like the muscle memory, he just like woof down. Like I couldn't do it in the last couple of years because of his heart. But I took some videos. Like anyways, there's thousands of pictures. I could be here all night. Just in the last few years, we did so much with them. I was just laughing. Look at it. Peace. It's just, puppy. We took him. This is when I took him to the Golf Men's Open in Ottawa a couple summers ago. We took him to a cottage, and he was the first one to catch the fish, of course. We just did so much with him. And look at this one. I love this one. He just looks like Bob and Doug McKenzie. If you're Canadian, you'll get that. Hey, hoser. And this was when we were stuck in COVID, and my dad decides he loves golf. He's going to start putting in the house. This is when we were in Florida. He's like, "I'm bored." So, I'm telling you, it's just, yeah. And there's so many more. Like I was up for 6-7 hours yesterday, just doing stuff with my dad. So do you want to see the Liberace pictures, and then we'll move on to Jack and Lilly? Do you want to see those today? And I'll tell you what I know, have come to learn in my belief about Jack and Lilly. And I've communicated even this morning. Have been chatting in the background to the RCMP. Do you think I look like him? Do you want to see Liberace? Oh, maybe I should Should have found it first. Okay, let me, maybe I should have found it first. If I don't find it in like 30 seconds here, I will do it another day. But my dad and I are wearing all his massive big jewelry. It's just wild. And I channeled him for like 2 hours. It was crazy. I'll look for it another day. I'll show you, I'll look for another day. So we're going to get into Dragon Lily. I have been, I was given a vision. I don't really know what it means. I don't really know what it means, this vision, but it's regarding me. Oh, the Liberace. Yeah, I know. I'll show it to you. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chris. And Donna and Kitty, all the 3 mods. Please be nice to them. They're great. And I don't want to cry anymore either, Shauna. I am ready to leave these last few years of trauma behind. So what we're going to do is, my dad wanted to be cremated. We're going to take a couple days and just distribute his ashes. And then when I get to go back to Vero Beach, Florida, where he lived permanently after retiring here, and my parents went there for 25 years. We had a home there across the street from the ocean, and they had a few homes. That's where my dad did land developments there as well, communities. We will take his ashes to the ocean there. And yeah. So that's, and then have a small family burial bury him with his parents. But that's the plan. So yeah. Oh, thank you. You think if you look at how much alike? Yeah. My dad and I, like, one of the books I want to write about is called, oh my God, Scout's Honor, because you just know, like, my dad and I are the same person, like 2 peas in a pod. And we worked together for 10 years and just very, very similar. And my mom and my sister were like 2 peas in a pod and not like us. So yeah, it was just kind of like the family was like my mom and my sister versus my dad and I, it was just a very obvious. So yeah, that plan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My daughter texted my sister and my mother, because obviously they have a right to know. My sister's like, let us know the plans. It's like, no, thank you. You are not invited. Sorry, it's not invited. You haven't spoke to him in 7 years, 8 years after you took all his money. No, not welcome. So listen, I have been working with the RCMP in the background. Monday night, my dad passed away. Tuesday, we had to run to keep cleaning the property, and I was in shock, and I was up. I ran to see his body. I didn't leave the hospital till 1:30. I don't know how I drove. I don't know how I got home. I was not like present, I don't know. And I couldn't fall asleep. And then we woke up and I had no sleep and no food, because I had not planned on staying in the city, but didn't come back here, and had emptied the fridge, like no food. Cleaned the house at the other place yesterday. And then I went to my daughter's. I took Wednesday yesterday off and just said, like, my daughter went back to work because she has bereavement days for our little escapade. And my other daughter and I just decided to grieve them and take some time yesterday, even though I'm in the middle of a move. Almost out, a couple carloads and some just sweeping of the garage. And, yeah, 43-degree weather, and this is going on. So anyway, I forget what I was going to say. What's I trying to tell you? I lost my train of thought. So I have to go back. I forget what I was going to say. So anyway, I have been working in the background. Yes. So I go to lay in bed yesterday, or the night before yesterday, Tuesday night. And I lay down, and I cannot say too much because I'm being watched by the person in question. I know I'm being watched by the person in question. This channel is being watched, and probably this live right now. Regrettably, when I was listening to some statements that were being made. I will tell you on the members live. I will tell you on the members live. I do not want to mess up an investigation because I think the police, the constable I've been speaking to, also is quite suspicious. He asked me a few days ago to do some research, and yeah, RCMP. I've been speaking with the crime division, okay, and have been texting him and speaking to very people in the crime division. And I said, you remember what I told you in my vision? Yeah, well, anyway. He said he comes back with Leanne on the phone. He's like, Leanne, can you do me a favor? Can you get me, I need this, I need this, I need, like, can you get me these things? Yes. I sent him the text yesterday with all that a few hours later because I was getting calls from family coming out of the woodwork about my dad and all that. And he emailed me, he texted me this morning to say, I can't open them on email because it's encrypted or on text. Can you email them to me? And I have. So they are taking what I think I have been validating a little bit for them, my theory. And I did tell him when I was laying down in bed, I told him I lost my dad. And he's like, I'm so sorry, Leanne. And, so I hadn't worked on the case for a couple of days, but I went to lay down in bed. And when I heard this clip, I said, what came through from my guides is I am listening to a murderer. I am listening to the murderer. I said, regrettably, I think he's killed them now. So that's the information of that person that he asked me for more information on, and name and and all that, like how they're gonna track this person down. Yes, Catherine, I'm glad they were too. And I think it doesn't hurt that I, have told them I could work with the Find Me group and that I've found missing kids before. And, so anyway, I hope I'm wrong about the deceased piece. I don't know, though. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. So, I will be doing a members sometime tomorrow. I'm so sorry. Thank you. So, yeah, I guess it's a difference between the police divisions, right? I have another case we just got assigned with the Find Me group today, and I have not asked Kelly yet because I have a feeling this may break. I'm hopeful that this is going to be the break in the case. I'm feeling pretty confident about it. When I was talking to the officer, I said, I don't know, but I'm getting full body confirmation what I'm telling you now, like full on. So I'm hoping that there's some closure here. And then I will, if not, then I'm going to ask Kelly to come on and talk to us about, the Amber Alerts. And I want to talk about this, about these. Do we need a secondary system? Because Amber Alerts are so specific to like one parent, and they're knowing the other parent has taken the child. And so for cases like Jack and Lilly and Sebastian and all these kids that we constantly hear are missing and the Amber Alert didn't apply, do we need another system? Do we need to create another alert for that? Like I want to talk to him about some of that, have him listen to some of the interviews the parents have made, some of the things that have been said on this It's a Criming Shame, and just see what Kelly has to say on that. So I think that would be really cool. He's already told us when we have a new case after he was on with Sebastian, he'd be happy to come back. I just haven't emailed him yet. So let's find out. I'm going to continue to work with the RCMP on this in the background. And I'm deliberately not saying too much because I don't want to impede the case. Hey, Kent. And we have it's called the Vulnerable Persons Alert. 2 of them on Friday and 1 on. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. I'm Canadian as well. I don't know how, and I know I think you're part of It's a Criming Shame. If you want to come up, you're more than welcome. I don't know your relationship to Sunny. I truly don't. I know she has subscribed to my channel, but other than that, we don't know each other. I'm in Ottawa, Canada. I know she's in BC. I don't know if you know that I'm a psychic medium and I volunteer with the Find Me group. But yeah, so I'm not going to say you're welcome to come up. If you want to talk, Kent, about that, that's totally up to you. I'm not one of those creators. Like I'm happy to collaborate, co-collaborate or whatever, but I'll leave that up to you. Just let me know. But I don't think, having said that, Kent, I don't think that we have an appropriate system in the United States or Canada yet for missing children. Like I think we're dropping the ball a little bit. And if you have a different opinion on that, I'd love to hear it. But I think there's a differing opinion, my opinion might be that there's, and Kelly Snyder's, I think, would probably agree within the Find Me group, the founder of the Find Me group. That's what we do. We solve cold cases and look for the missing and have a 38% track record of solving cases. I think he would say as well that there's a serious deficit in the system to help minimize this. Like, you've only got a few hours to get on it, or things go downhill real fast. So if that was said, if what he said was true, RCMP would have jumped all over that. With Kent? I don't know, hun. So anyways, okay, so let's listen to Donna, you sent me a news clip. I've not been able to validate if it's factual, but there was somebody, I can show it to you. I'm just not sure this creator. I'm reluctant to play it because I don't know what this creator, if this is like, I haven't had time, Donna, because I just got that email like just before going live. It's a boy and he's 6, but I don't think it's Jack and Lilly. Like, there's it's tied into the video under the assumption it could be, but I haven't seen that update from the RCMP. I've searched quickly, but I haven't seen it. So we'll listen to, I found an article and it wasn't these two. Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So let's listen here to the last RCMP update, and then we're going to go through some of the newest. In fact, that It's a Criming Shame. Sunny and Kent have been playing with the family in the interviews. We'll play some of that. You can tell me what your opinions are on that. But yes, let's listen to that first. A little disorganized because, well, it's me, always a little disorganized. And because I was searching for some of that at the last minute and I couldn't find it. So I decided, well, we'll just play what I know to be the last statement from the RCMP, which was just a few days ago. 3 days ago. This statement was made 3 days ago. Okay, let's listen in.
We don't have evidence to suggest that
I'll just
to be clear, we don't have evidence to suggest that an abduction took place at this time.
Is it something you're still investigating, whether or not they could have been abducted?
So we're exploring all investigative avenues. So on the morning of May 2nd, approximately 10 a.m., RCMP officers received a call about 2 missing children in Lansdowne Station. The information at the time was that they wandered off away from the property. And I can tell you that our officers got at the scene very quickly. And we were monitoring the situation and hopefully finding the children very soon after that.
So it's very quickly. Officers arrive, and then what? You expected, it sounds like you're saying that you'd find the children quickly, or hoped you would anyways. That didn't happen.
So Kayla, what I can tell you, from experience, you look at missing children. I've been involved with a handful of cases since I've been with Strategic Communications. Most oftentimes, the children are located very quickly after officers arrive at the scene, right? And that's our hope every single time, that they wandered off and you can find the children. Because I'm sure, like every officer out there, I'm not on the road currently, but your heart is pounding, the adrenaline is rushing, you're trying to find those children, right?
This case started just like that?
That's
what you're
correct.
describing, you thought you'd go there, find them very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And our officers were nearby in an ongoing search for a kayaker that had gone missing the day prior. So, you know, and I can tell you I was monitoring the situation remotely, and our officers, I could tell they were getting there as quickly as possible.
There are some, as you are aware, many theories out there. Some people think, well, maybe it's really just a tragic accident. Maybe they just wandered off into the woods. But you've said that it's suspicious. So at the very least, why does the RCMP view this case as suspicious?
So every missing persons investigation is suspicious until it's proven that it's not. You know, if we don't have that information to say that it's not suspicious, we have to continue to assume that it is suspicious.
Well, especially with kids, I mean, I think it would be quite negligent if they didn't look at all viewpoints. In fact, I think my slight criticism of them is that they potentially looked at the case a little bit too much, in my opinion, like the kids wandered off, because as you know how I work, I was literally, I think, the only person, psychic medium, saying those kids did not wander off. At the very beginning, I think I was one of the only ones talking they were taken. I don't know every YouTuber. I certainly don't watch the other psychic mediums. So I can't say with definitively, but I know, I think, and I kept telling the police, I know this is not mainstream thinking. But so I feel like, same as with Sebastian. Yeah, I think it's not to be critical, but I think they made some mistakes. But I don't know, because they're not telling us, right? And they're not, nor they should, and nor would I want them to. And nor are they telling me anything beyond my conversation within my conversation with them. They're not, like, I'm hearing the chatter. I was hearing the chatter on It's a Crime and Shame last night. And Kent, kudos to you guys, and to Sunny, please, if you're still here, Kent, for doing a great job with the family. Like, honestly, great for you. I think that's amazing. I have come to a decision and a conclusion very early on based on, how I collect intel. And what I'm finding now is that I think, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, it's just that I think, based on the conversations that I've had with the crime unit, people that I've spoken to, particularly this one officer, is that they might be getting more in lockstep with what I said initially. And that's all I'm going to say. So yeah, there is that element that I think they potentially took the parents' words a little bit, maybe too I think they took it a little bit too seriously in the beginning, is all I would say. But again, that's just based on my opinion. I really can't. We don't know behind the scenes. It's just my sense.
And access those resources and tools and follow up those tips and find that evidence until we find the people that are missing.
So you don't think they were abducted, but you can't find them. How do 2 young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information. And to date, we've received close to 500 tips. So we have to follow up on those tips, right? Whether it's a tip that indicates that there could be something that happened elsewhere in the province, elsewhere in the country, we have to follow up on those investigative tips to rule them out. And to this date, we haven't had any confirmed sightings.
But there have been tips that lead you to other parts of the country that you had to check.
As with any investigation, oftentimes we do get tips that you have to verify that are elsewhere, yes.
You have said that the children were last seen alive the day before. Can you tell me about the nature of that?
So we know they were seen in public with loved ones the day prior. The specifics aren't being released at this time.
Okay, and so that's the day before, so that's May 1st, but you've specifically asked for video back to April 28th. What's the reason for that?
You know, when you establish a timeline for any investigation, You want to know where these individuals were prior. They may have been in contact with someone that you want to know who that person is. You may see something on that footage that you didn't know about prior to that. You know, we talked about license plates earlier and seeing them from a different angle. You might see someone that's known elsewhere. Maybe it's someone that's known to police. You never know.
Maybe it's someone that's known to police. I'm going to say things without saying things. I'm going to expect you guys to pick up on what I'm dropping down. If I am wrong and there is not a major break in the next couple of days and I am proven to be wrong in the members only, I will tell you what I have been communicating. But I do not want to jeopardize the case. And so, yeah. But I'm going to say a couple things. And I know some of you will be able to put 2 and 2 together without me saying too much. I'm going to leave that to you guys. And I know you understand why, because right now, getting these to these kids is the most important thing. Welcome, YouTuber, back. Thank you, sweetie. Truly appreciate you. And for all the members have been so patient with me. I will be doing lots of members lives. I forgot to tell you, not only will I show you the pictures about Liberace, and I can tell you that I'm going to do that as a members only live, tell you about that experience and what it was like. I found, I'm so excited about this, y'all. I found a top secret CIA document that I'm going to study on what they suggest for astral travel. Okay. We're going to read that. We're going to study that. I've got some videos and stuff that I've been showing you. So we got some stuff coming down. I'm getting my visions back in my sleep, everybody. So I was getting discouraged with my guides, but I'm just starting to think my dad might be my guide stepping in. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see. And so I'm feeling, yeah. I'm so excited of some stuff I've been thinking about for members only. So just leaving that out there. It's $2.99 a month, I think, the cheapest one. Yes, Lloyd Lemma. And I have been taught how to do it. I've never taught anybody. And so I'm going to study how the CIA suggests relearn it. And we're going to learn it together and practice together. And it's just something I'm going to do for the members live. It's $199 a month. Thank you, Krista. Thank you, sweetie. It's the cheapest one that I can do. There is the Learn Tarot. I still want to do the 30-day psychic blueprint and development. And yeah, Lloyd Lameth, thank you, sweetie. So members only, I love you and I adore you and I appreciate your support and I will be making it up to you. Okay. I know, sweetie, I know, but I think it's because I'm potentially transitioning with my dad becoming my guide. It's not that I don't think my guides are going to be there. It's just that guides come and go at different phases of your life for different purposes. And I was also being given a test to trust myself and to not let go of trusting in myself. So I know there was a purpose for all that, you know? So yeah, that's okay. So let's get back to Jack and Lily. I think I'm build 214. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah. So it's the cheapest that YouTube will allow. So that's what I've done. And there's a lot of videos in there. And I just because with my dad's passing, I forgot all of the tarot videos, like the hundreds on Sebastian and everything else are going to go to members. So for $1.99 a month, you're going to get all the tarot videos, the channeling sessions. I'm going to do the 30-day psychic blueprint. We're going to learn astral travel, mediumship. I'm going to just do all that stuff. Okay. So I think it's pretty decent. Did the Karen verdict cheer you up? It sure friggin' did. I sent Melanie Little an email just saying thank you because you restored my faith and not letting my warrior side go. Like I've just felt so broken. And I said to my daughter, Tuesday night, my dad died. Like I said, it was 10 or 11. I got home at like 3 o'clock in the 1:30 in the morning after visiting his body and woke my daughters up. They talked to me. My very good friend called me. Like I spoke in the middle of the night with my daughters, like 3 o'clock, 1:30, you know, the whole thing. And then the next day I was at my daughter's, and we went back to the house, and then I drove back to my daughter's, and there was an accident on the parkway, so it took me 3 hours to get my daughter's a turnaround. I got some of my dad's favorite things, like he loved mixed Vickies and dill pickle dip and like cherry ice cream, and we just had and honored him that way. So I was extremely excited, and I sent Melanie Little a while back a video saying, "You've inspired me when I felt so low with this fight with my dad. Like now I feel like I've been given more charge." I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like, yeah, like even the latest with this hospital episode, like the Dementia Society was the reason he took an axe to my door. Like I can't even, I'm not even, I don't even go into it right now, but I think the experience that I've had has to be spoken about and written about. And I have no doubt my dad is going to help me channel that book, and then I'll move into my series. So, I was so excited for Karen Reed, and I said to Melanie Little, I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the coin. An innocent woman being set up by the police, and my dad, because lawyers and a judge were involved, they're getting away with it. Nobody wants to touch them. I called so many lawyers here in Ottawa, and I was told lawyers don't go up against lawyers. We don't go after other lawyers. I had one guy by the name of David Cutler. Sounds like a pretty vicious name, Cutler. And he was a pit bull. And he said, yeah, Leanne, I'll work on the case, but you're going to need a $100,000 deposit. What? Yeah. So I felt very much inspired by Karen Reed fighting a corrupt system. She was wrongly accused, and I got people that were in power that used that power in corruption, including that judge. When I went to the bank and they pulled that lien on title, they said, I don't know how they got this through. It's not legal in the United States. But the judge came from the firm that were partners of my dad. The same partners that canceled his work visa, the same partner that put the illegal liens on the home and gave my mom all his money and stole his money. And I could go on and on and on. That judge came from that firm in Florida. That is about as corrupt as it gets when there's no law allowing for that to happen. So it's the other side of corruption. And I feel like Karen Reed and I are on the opposite. And certainly hers more traumatic potentially than mine. I can't say because I'm not her. I know mine was pretty traumatic. But I feel like I fell into the corruption side, And yeah. So I'll leave it there. I'm more inspired to talk about it now and to make my dad, because I felt through him as his power of attorney, so ignored by the Canadian government and the system, no legal aid, no support, nothing. And I felt so, YouTuber, thank you, sweetie. Thank you. You gifted one. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. I really appreciate it. I felt, I just explained this to you, and then I don't want to say any more about this, but as a coach, as a business coach, when I was a coach for Keller Williams International, Keller Williams, I had to pay $30,000 to be a coach, to train to be a coach, after I had to go through 8 psychological profiles, prove my worthiness and standards with respect to winning international sales awards with Keller Williams, around the international sales awards, like around the world. And I still had to pay $30,000 to train, because they were the elite of every single coaching company in the world. The one thing that you've seen in the airports was written by Gary Keller of Keller Williams. And I was trained by my dad. I worked with my dad for 10 years, who was incredibly successful. I trained and was taught, like my dad would say, I'd say, Dad, I got 90%. And he was hard at me, go, where'd the other 10% go? Like on my exam or my test or whatever. And he would say, if you're not going to do 150% of your energy, don't friggin' do it. It's all or nothing. You go in all or nothing. And it's like, and Robin Sharma, who is my mentor, who I've believed in and followed since 2006, there's a book that he wrote, Who Will Cry When You Die? And everything I do, always have done, is about thinking about, he has this whole episode over picture your eulogy. How do you want to be remembered in your eulogy when you're dead? And then, so everything, my whole last 2006, 20 years of my life has been about leaving a legacy. So I will be remembered for being a great mother and business person, and And then this happens to my dad, and he's got dementia, and every single person abandoned him, including the Canadian government, the legal system, the medical system. Nobody gave a rat's ass about my dad. And it was the most painful experience being his advocate, his power of attorney, his voice on, we don't respect our elders in this community in North America, in our society, the way other populations and civilizations do. And boy, oh boy, it's discouraging. It's alarming. And I am going to speak about what I've experienced. And it's going to be in honor of Bob. And I told my daughters, I've always wanted to start a family legacy. We're going to think about what we're going to do that's going to be respectful for my dad. And I'm going to really try to advocate for a power of attorney law in this country, because my mom stole his FERPTA X returns. Like, she put those illegal liens on his houses in Florida. And I have proof that I faxed the income tax. I paid for the return. She sent me an email saying, oh, I won't steal any more of your money. Promise. Okay. And then she took me a year to save, to have the money for the $1,000 to $900 US to get the return done. She had already submitted it the month after the house sold, claiming they think she was still alive and she had no rights to it, and stole his money. So the IRS starts accusing me of stealing his money. I have the paperwork, and I have faxed them my power of attorney 5 times and all the documentation. And she keeps sending her power of attorney in, which is 20 years old, and has me removed from the file. How is an institution supposed to know who's got the legitimate power of attorney? I'm not one for over government regulation, but when it comes to elders in this country, we need better standards. It's like I'm always about advocating for the vulnerable. Children, elderly, people with disabilities, and animals that cannot speak for themselves. They need to be protected, and the elders in this country need to be protected. So enough said. I'm going to figure out what that is. But my daughter's like a nurse, and my other daughter did a dual degree in human rights and human leadership and human rights, and all her profs came from the UN. So I kind of think my family might be built for something with respect to the elders and caregiving and laws, given our collaborative experience. We'll see. We have to talk about it. I'm not starting a family business that my kids will carry on in my dad's honor and in my name. If they don't want to take it on, I'm not doing it. So we have to discuss it, but it's coming. Something is coming in that regard. So I just cannot think I have been through what I have been through, and you guys don't even know all of it, for nothing. It's got to be for something, So yeah, I feel like I want to honor my dad that way. So, okay, let's listen to this. I'm not talking about him anymore tonight, not because I don't love him, because I want to stay on track, and I don't need any help getting off tangent. So let's go listen to this.
No, we really are seeking all investigative avenues in this case.
There have been some complaints that an Amber Alert was not issued. I understand that the criteria is very specific. Was that considered? Is it still possible?
Absolutely, Kayla. On the day of the incident, I can tell you, I was working. I reviewed the policy that morning. We have to have a suspect or a person of interest when it comes to abduction or a vehicle. In terms of sending out an alert, when you send an Amber Alert, you want to direct the public to look for a specific vehicle, to look for that license plate, to look for that suspicious person, to have a photo of someone or more information to suggest that there was an abduction. In this case, they are young children, certainly vulnerable people, and a vulnerable person alert was issued.
Does the RCMP know what happened here? Even if you can't tell me, do you know?
So what I can tell you is that we're exploring all investigative avenues.
Do you have a case? Are you
That is a short no. That is a short no, right?
building a specific
They
case
don't
that's
yet
leading
know
you
what
in a certain
happened.
direction?
In this case, the investigation is still being investigated under the Missing Persons Act.
It sort of seems from the last news release that you issued. The reason I'm asking these questions. I read that news release and I thought, I don't think they have any idea what happened here.
You know, when it comes to missing people, it's very complex. It can be very long-term investigations. It can be difficult on first responders, especially when it involves vulnerable people. And we have to be patient, and we have to follow the leads and follow the facts and evidence that we gather to bring us to locating the children.
Does the RCMP think Lilly and Jack could still be alive?
That's a great question, and we want to locate them and find them. And our goal is to investigate every single avenue until we find them.
Is it possible at this point?
That's a great question, and our role is to find them in the evidence surrounding their disappearance.
You mentioned a lot of the tips you're getting. I'm sure you're aware there's extraordinary public interest in this case. Some people are frustrated that the RCMP is not saying more. We understand it's an active investigation. And in some cases, the lack of information leads to speculation, and rumors are rampant online, and that's done some harm on the family in this case as well. What, though, would you say to the public who are begging for answers and just want to know what's happened here?
We have to be patient and certainly rely on our news releases and official sources of information. You know, don't listen to those rumors that are out there. We're putting out those news releases on a regular basis with information pertaining to the investigation. We have to be very cautious as to what type of information we release, because we want to make sure that it doesn't affect the investigation.
I think some people in the public are starting to wonder, is it possible that we may never find out what happened to Lilly and Jack? Is that possible?
I wouldn't be able to answer you that question today, but I can tell you that our investigators are seasoned. They are committed. I've worked with some of them personally prior in my career, and I can tell you that they are committed investigators to this missing children's investigation.
I also want to say, because y'all know, and this is not a criticism of Canada versus the United States, it's the RCMP. And I want you to think about it with respect to what I said with the CIA and Kelly working Secret Service. The national police centers are more, I'm just now, I think, putting the pieces together. It seems to me that the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, the RCMP, which are more national regulatory bodies, are a little bit more pro-psychic mediums. They just seem to be. And I want to say that my experience in dealing with the RCMP versus TBI, who hung up on me, has been night and day. They have been so professional and thanking me and taking my information seriously. And like, I've spoken to this detective multiple times, like I've said, but I did also, when he was off for a couple of days, speak to another detective over the weekend, and it was the same thing. We absolutely are, like, you know, it was the same thing. And before, because he was the crime unit, before he called me back, I had the answering service, and then another officer call me and say, oh, crime unit may want to talk to you. And they were absolutely, all of them, unshakably polite, grateful, thankful, and took me seriously. It's whether I'm right or not is to be determined. I'm just giving them what I'm getting, and they're following up with, does it jive with the facts? Oh, Chicken Lady, welcome in. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Welcome in. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being a member of our community. We have an amazing community here. I'm going to be doing my lives a lot more regularly. But yeah, I work as a psychic medium. I volunteer with the Find Me group. Those are going to be members only. But I do occasionally talk about what I get as visions and whatnot. So yeah. So they have been amazing to work with. They really, really have, I have to say. So let's watch. I want you to tell me, because we all know we want to talk about the elephant in the room. This guy, Darwood, that's coming out. What do y'all think of this Darwood guy? Okay, what do you think of his statements? We're going to listen to one, and I want you to tell me, what do you think of this guy? He sounds pretty legit. What do you think? I also wanted to just, before I pull him up, I do want to talk about this though, because I think they were only added, Jack and Lilly Sullivan were only added. You can't believe him, says Chris. Don't believe or trust him. Okay. Well, I know he watches and listens to the channel. So Darwood, if you're here and you're listening and you want to defend yourself, I just want to leave you that opportunity. I'm happy to let you do. That's just, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Anyways, I wanted to talk about this because before we talk about Darwood and listen to what he had to say, June 19th, 2025, 10:46 a.m. is when Jack and Lilly were added to the Nova Scotia Case of Missing Children news release, added to the rewards program. So they were added to the rewards program. Maybe I'm wrong, but were they ever considered part of a missing persons affiliation before that? I feel like they weren't. I feel like this took a new development. Just in my opinion, I think they were looking after. They walked out the back. It's dense. We haven't found their bodies yet. They walked out the back. It's dense. We haven't found their bodies yet. They walked out the back to, we have not found their bodies. We cannot find their bodies. Maybe there are no bodies. Into, wow, do we have missing persons? That's just how I'm picking it up energetically. If I am wrong, please correct me. But I feel like this is not long after they added them to the missing persons organizations, because I think they thought they were going to find them in the back. What do you think? Am I way out to lunch here? What do you think? So let's just read this quickly, and then we're going to go to listening to Darwood. The province is offering a reward of $150,000 for information about the disappearance of siblings Lilly and Jack Sullivan. For anybody who is watching or sees their beautiful faces on the screen, please, if you know anything, you've got to come forward for their sake. And there is a $150,000 reward. I think the police, I have to say too, kitty catty, thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. That's very kind. I think, what was I going to say? Like, I just feel like it's shifted into, we can't find them. I know that the searcher came out not long around that time and not long ago and came out and said she still thinks they're back there. But does anybody else kind of feel that when they declared them missing persons was like, we're going to go to plan A, like theory A was they wandered out the back. Theory B is, were they taken, or was there an ulterior something that we don't know about? And so now they're declared missing persons. It just seems to me like that transition happened after they searched and searched and searched and came up without finding anything. Yeah, well, I mean, her job too is to validate the search team, right? So, I mean, she could be right. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think that's not what I got intuitively. And I also believe that, Lois, I'll show that in a second. I also believe that there would have been signs from animals from carcass. I don't want to be rude, but there would have been animals flying and their bodies. Like, it would have been hard to dismiss that there was a body there. Like, that's all. The jury is in my head. It's still out. R.E. Darwood, to me, expresses himself in a more demonstrative way than others. However, it's not off-putting to me. Yeah, no, he sounds legitimate. My putter, first time watching on here, so words don't right. Bear with me. Huh? I don't understand, chicken lady. First time watching her. So if words don't like, oh, look right, bear with me. Oh, don't you worry. Yours truly makes the more typing errors than anybody could imagine. We'll figure it out. I do ask if you can to just retype if I don't understand, because I have a hard time missing, like, I'm a lot ADHD. And so I'll go off on tangents and forget what you're answering, what I was talking about by the time I see your answer. So yeah. So I don't know. I think they're originally really truly believed they walked out back, and now they're like, wow, I don't think they're out back. So if anybody has information, you need to come forward. And Darwood, if you are watching and what you say is factual, I don't know if you have been into the police, but I would hope that you would go into the police and tell them what you know. On May 2nd, the RCMP started a missing persons investigation for Lilly and Jack. Lilly 6 and Jack 4, after family members could not locate the children in their home or on the property in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County. Family members reported they saw Lilly inside the home and could not hear Jack on the morning of May 2nd. The investigation has confirmed that both Lilly and Jack were the family members on the afternoon of May 1st. The disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan is felt across the province and beyond, and my heart goes out to the family, the community, and everybody who has been working to find these children since day one, said Becky Jerome, Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Police and investigators are working tirelessly to find answers, and I urge anyone with information to please share this with the RCMP as soon as possible. Lilly Sullivan is described as 4 feet tall and weighing 60 pounds with light brown hair and hazel eyes. At the time of her disappearance, Lilly was believed to be wearing a pink Barbie top and pink rubber boots with rainbow print, carrying a cream-colored backpack with strawberry prints. Jack Sullivan is described as 3 feet 6 inches tall, weighing 40 pounds, with dark blonde hair and hazel eyes. At the time of his disappearance, Jack was believed to be wearing a pull-up diaper, black Under Armour jogging pants, and blue rubber boots with dinosaur prints, which are shown in the picture here. Anyone with information should call the Rewards Major Unsolved Crimes Program at 1-888-710-9090. People who come forward with information must provide their name and contact information and may be called to testify in court. All calls will be recorded. People who prefer to remain anonymous can call Crime Stoppers of Nova Scotia, 1-800-222-8477, which is 1-800-222-TIPS. I can tell you because the detective that I have been working with, I had texted him and he didn't, it shows when he's read my receipts, and I assumed he was off for a couple of days because he hadn't read it. And so I called on the weekend with some stuff that I was getting, more information coming in. And I tried the crime unit because I thought the RCMP, because I got a voicemail and I thought they'd be closed, and they were closed at the number I was getting. And I tried the RCMP crimes unit in Nova Scotia, and I was automatically transferred to my province, just so anybody's aware of that. They said, we can't help you, call the RCMP. And they gave me their sort of back channel phone number when I left a message with the person that answered. Then a police officer called me back, collected my statement, and then the crime unit. So, just know that if you do call, you will have to give your information out, but it will be the province within, or, if you're in Canada, they will forward you to that province. So, okay, so let's watch a video here that was shown Darwood. I think this is his first. I am not following it all. I have been, like I said, I've been obviously moving and dealing with my dad. So I think this was his first interview when he came forward, or this is a compilation of things that he said that Joseph Morris put down, and Dolly called. No one else did. Dolly called who, hun? So yeah, let's listen to this and tell me what you think about what he's saying.
It's a big if, because it's been a long time, but those kids are alive, and that's a big if, because it's been a long time, but I still believe there's a very good chance there. Mm-hmm. If those kids are still alive, and if they're where I think they are, if you to the God idiots that are still holding on to those kids, I want to say this: if you panic We're zeroing in on you, and you know it. The last couple of days, they know we're zeroing in on them. And if you panic and hurt those kids, thinking that you're going to hurt them and get rid of them and not get nailed, you're wrong. Because we're already very close to having you. Bring those kids to the light of day.
After Jack and Lilly.
Okay, so Dolly called too. Because I heard a bunch of people have called on Darwood, but from what I understand, I don't know. Again, I'm not really up to date. I thought he already told the police what he knew. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's why I said, hey, Darwood, if you're listening, if you haven't, I would hope that if you think this is factual and you think you really know what happened, that you would report it. But I want to listen to what he has to say, and I want you guys to tell me, what would his motive be to make this up? Like, why would somebody, what are some motives that you could think about that would be present on why he would make this up, this story? I don't, other than attention. I know, sweetie, I know. Hope Floats, you're back in too. Welcome in, sweetie. Just so you know, as soon as I'm like Friday, I'm going to be on. I've got things a little bit of going on the weekend, but all in all, I'm going to try to show up here on lives. I'm going to give me a little bit of grace period because we're going to have my dad's stuff. I still have to do another run or so and get the TV off the wall in the other place. But once, if you give me a little bit of grace, I'm going to try to be on every day at 5. And what I've decided to do, like Ren isn't here today, but she asked for Koberger. I want to cover that trial. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to cover, like, we're going to pick 3 or 4 cases, and we're just going to talk every night about 3 or 4 cases. Jack and Lilly, we'll do updates on Sebastian once in a while. We'll do Koberger once in a while. You know, we'll talk about whether Gilgo Beach is coming forward and what's progressing. You know, we're just going to make it alive every night and try to talk about the top cases that we're working on. I hope that will satisfy everybody, because there's only so much Jack and Lilly, and I want to do other things as well, and other people want other cases. So I'm hoping that will satisfy everybody. Let me know what you think. If you agree that would be okay, put a 1 in the chat. And if you have another idea, put 2 and your other idea, okay? But that's right now what I'm thinking, and then I'll just do the channeling and the tarot. I have not heard from Sebastian. The channeling and the tarot on the members. Okay, you like it? Okay. Just let me know if you, thank you, everybody. And that way I'm trying to be more consistent. I've been talking to my kids about that because there's a lot of mom, I need you, I need you, I need you. And like, we all kind of, and they help me, we help, like, it's family, but I need to show up here for you guys and for myself. And I need to work and be productive. I feel like this resurgence of, you know, I just want to do some things to honor my dad and what we've been through. And this may not be a direct correlation, but it's very much me, you know? So, and justice and speaking the truth and the voice for the vulnerable. And in this case, Jack and Lilly. So, yeah. Don B said something about Darwood call and info to RCMP, put out a video about their conversation. Clutch has showed it too. Don't like to mention names, but I think it's a diversion. Yeah, okay. But I also heard that Darren, if you're here, Darren, has been validating what he's saying, Darwood. So I find that interesting. Okay, let's listen some more. I want you to pay attention to some keywords. I'm going to tell you, okay, I got a guide coming in here. I don't know who this is, but I got a guide coming in. In the back of my head. Hang on. Sebastian, is that you? I got like something's going, like, okay, they're gone, but the back of my head started to hurt. I'm just wondering if it's Sebastian. He has not been back since I moved. The spirits slamming doors and banging on walls has not happened since everything's been moved out. Somebody's here now. Sebastian, is that you? Yeah, Sebastian's here, guys. Sebastian's here. Sorry, he's telling me he's worried about his mummy. I'm worried about my mummy. Sorry, y'all. I don't mean to hijack this. I'm worried about my mummy and my daddy. They're not in a good way. Hang on. Okay. I feel like Sebastian feels his mom's not safe. What's going on there? Has anybody heard updates? Because he's very, very worried for Seth, but really more mom. Like something to do with CP and her. And he's very worried about her safety. Like it's like he's coming to me for comfort and I don't. So I'm just telling him that I will talk to him later. There's not much that I can do right now. Was not expecting this. Sorry, y'all. That I'd like to know what's going on. And maybe, okay, Sebastian, I will do a reading on this after for members only. Would that be okay? Like, he's like in this panicked state. Like he needs some consoling. So we're all here with you. I don't really know what's going on. Like he's showing me visions of Chris being physically abusive with Katie. He's showing me Chris being physically abusive to Katie. Ooh. I feel like it's recent because he's in this like hysteria. Like this is not like in the past. This is like going on like now, like not necessarily in this moment, but like I'm very worried for my mummy. She's not safe. I'm very worried for my mummy. She's not in a good way. She's not safe. Sorry, everybody. My dad is just completely lost. My dad is completely lost his way. Okay, we're all saying prayers for you, Sebastian. And when I'm off this tonight and you want to come in and talk to me, you can come in to talk to me and we will talk through this and I will do a reading for you to see what I can get. Okay? Okay. Wow. I can still feel he's here, but my head, like every time he comes in, my head hurts less and less. I think I know on the other side that they heal. And so whatever was done when he was hit in the head, it's almost like it's dissipating. Because I don't know if you remember when I channeled him like a year and a bit ago, the first time he came in, I was like in excruciating pain. So I don't know. Okay. So let's go back to listening to this. Wow, this is all over the place. Sorry, everybody that's watching on replay. My apologies. This is kind of what happens when you're a psychic medium. And the channeling that I do is more often than not planned. It's just
Sullivan's relative Darwood O'Grady came forward with claims that their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, orchestrated their removal from the home. Stepfather Daniel Martel has revealed that Malaya has fled her mother's house and is now on the run, with Jack and Lilly presumed to be alive. Darwood from Malaya's side.
Okay, do y'all think that she's left? Oh no, Hope. Oh no. I was wondering about that because he's not been on the top of the mind. So okay, I'm gonna deal with that later. I didn't know. I mean, he has been having a hard time for a long time, but I feel like this is like the way Sebastian's coming in, like it's urgent. Like this is really it's like dire right now. So okay, let's go back to Jack and Lilly here. This is very interesting, this statement.
Brooks Murray orchestrated their removal from the home. Stepfather Daniel Martel has revealed that Malaya has fled her mother's house and is now on the run, with Jack and Lilly presumed to be alive.
How many people think Malaya orchestrated Jack and Lily's removal? Put a 1 in the chat if you think Malaya orchestrated Jack and Lily's removal. And a 2 if you don't think she orchestrated their removal. I'm putting my answer in. Okay, so see, the only thing about that is why wouldn't she have taken Meadow? Well, that's the right. Now, I think Darwood has been saying she was planning on coming back for Meadow. Could be. Could be. I think she did, but it went bad. Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
Darwood, from Malaya's side of the family, but connected to Daniel through work, spoke to Sonny Austin and Charmaine Swart on It's a Crime and Shame YouTube channel, first appearing on Dolly Vision's platform, spinning a tale that's got tongues wagging. He's adamant Malaya handed the kids off to someone on the property's edge, a theory backed by Daniel's Facebook chat with A Crime and Shame, where he noted the kids' scent, tracked by dogs, vanished.
To answer Lois, apparently, according to the updates It's a Crime and Shame have been doing, Meadow is back and Daniel had him the other day, or had her rather, and was visiting her, and she's, I don't know. So I don't know. I don't have the answers. Regrettably, I haven't been up to date because of between my dad's passing and my move. I haven't been able to up to date. So I apologize.
At the end of the driveway, Darwood's pushing this.
Okay, so Daniel's writing, what's more strange is that nothing has been found in the woods. It's bizarre. And that kind of goes in alignment with what I'm saying. I think the police truly all thought that the kids walked out and got lost. And now they're like all saying, well, where are they then? The dogs went to the road and lost scent. What the hell? That's why I thought maybe they went out to catch the school bus at the wrong time.
Angle, hoping to jumpstart the stalled case, though he's skeptical of the Mounties' ability to follow through, despite reporting it to them. The day after the kids went missing, Malaya, her baby Meadow, and her mother, Cindy Murray, hightailed it to Wentworth. Malaya's mother, Cindy, then told reporters that the RCMP barred them from media chats. But a CBC reporter said that just wasn't true. They were only warned to mind what they shared to the media. The relative Darwood figures that Malaya caught wind he was onto her, and that caused her to fled to the Sipakanaktik.
Well, he set her up, right? He, according to himself. I just can't shake the feeling of it being Daniel's mom for some reason. Now Daniel's saying he is missing sweaters, and actually said if kids are found by my sweaters, I was framed. I haven't heard that. Where's he saying all that stuff? Is that on It's a Crime and Shame? I haven't watched all of them because I barely watched any. I've just watched a couple here and there because I've been busy.
Reserve.
But, I don't know.
Taking Meadow with her and fleeing her mother, Cindy Murray's house in Wentworth. So he figures that maybe she went there to snag a lawyer for cover as this case is heating up.
And then I believe the person that eavesdropped on me, I intentionally let them eavesdrop on me. And then I believe they directly called Malaya, and within a half an hour, Malaya had panicked and grabbed the baby, grabbed Meadow, and took off.
So, Darwood, I'd love to know why you did that. I want to know why you wanted to set Malaya up that would cause her to try to take Meadow. What was she afraid of? What was she afraid of? Why would you set her up to the point where she would want to run? Has anybody thought about that? Has anybody talked about that? Because I don't know that I've heard anybody ask him, why would you want to set up a mother who's grieving the loss of her missing children or grieving the fact that her kids are missing? Why would you deliberately set her up so that she would try to flee with Meadow? I want y'all to go back to think about what my theory of the case was, and try to connect the dots. I think Malaya is the victim here, in my opinion, and is the fall person here. I don't necessarily think Daniel's guilty, although passing a polygraph about whether they murdered Jack and Lilly isn't necessarily a full polygraph, in my opinion. Have they taken or arranged for them to be taken? Or did anybody he know arrange for them to be taken? I'm more on that than I am in what Darwood's story is. Just saying. That's just me so far.
From Cindy's place, which is her mother's place in Wentworth.
Right.
And that's where she's been staying under 24-hour supervision by CPS. But anyway, she fought with her mother. Her mother tried to keep her there physically and couldn't keep her there. And Malaya headed, what I was told by the other family members who called me back right away, and that she had grabbed the baby and ran and headed for the reserve in Shubenacadie. Why she would head for the reserve, I don't know. And I don't know for sure if that's where the chief of the Micmac Reserve, it's his brother that's her lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing I can think of in that, and not so, what I don't know, I'll say I don't.
Welcome in, Lloyd. Ooh. Thank you. Thank you, honey. Welcome back. Thank you. Lloyd, have you been a member before? I can't remember, honey. I'm sorry.
I don't know. What I know, I know. Now, I don't know exactly why she ran for the reserve, but the only connection.
Hey, y'all, just random, but do you think my shades look like Darwood's? Just a interesting observation.
I can think of is that her lawyer's there. Maybe she thinks she can get some kind of, I don't know, legal protection or whatever, because I think she realizes that the jig is up. And I think she realized that I knew more than I made an educated guess, and I think I was right, and it made her panic.
Daniel's been vocal about Malaya's mental state, saying the chatter is messing with her head, especially with Meadow in the mix. Belinda Gray, paternal grandma to Jack and Lily's biological dad, hasn't seen Malaya since Meadow's birth 6 months ago, fueling talk of postpartum struggles.
Now, I did say very early on that I felt like there was some anxiety and mental health issues, but it was more he was controlling. She wanted to get away, and she was already planning on leaving the relationship. He doesn't come off as being controlling, but I do feel like there's a different side to Daniel than the one he is positioning himself with on social media. And And I want to just say for all of the true crime communities out there that think Malaya looks suspect because she's quiet, I believe I know why that is, and I don't believe that's because she's suspect. I believe she is afraid. She is afraid, and I do believe the police understand that. Someone in Justin's chat said that someone said a man with a white mustache was seen in the area at the time Lilly and Jack went missing. Interesting. Interesting. I could be wrong, but and again, no psychic medium is 100% perfect, especially with everything I've been through lately. So there's that caveat always. But I can tell you my visions are becoming validated. That's as much as I'll say. The visions I gave the police weeks ago are showing up factually. Some of the things that I said are things that are kind of, so I just leave it like that. Asked if they could tell where they heard, but no reply. Asked if they could tell us where they heard that, but no reply. Interesting. Yeah, so I just want to say there's other plausible reasons out there that may not be the most obvious reasons why Malaya Baby's silent. I'm just throwing that out there. If I'm correct, I do believe there's a reason she's scared.
Darwood on It's a Crime and Shame suggested Malaya might be at risk of self-deleting. So before the kids vanished.
Wow, another member. Wow, thank you, everybody. I love you guys all so much. I appreciate it. Come in. Welcome, Becky. Welcome in. We are a wonderful community here. Thank you. Great, great community here, especially once we get back up and running and I'm a little more regular like I used to be. We'll see the full entourage of our lovely supportive community here. Our wonderful mods, Hope Floats, Whispering Winds, and Kitty are in the group in the chat here. And our community is just try to be very supportive and loving and respectful. So welcome. Thank you.
Malaya and Daniel were butting heads, and she was spilling her beefs about him to the family, which
Okay, gal. Now, did I say that or did I not say that? That Malaya was unhappy in the relationship. And now we're hearing that she was unhappy in the relationship.
Daniel were butting heads, and she was spilling her beefs about him to the family, which Darwood thinks pushed her to get Jack and Lilly out.
What I think happened, what I'm pretty sure happened, is Malaya, they had a few arguments, they had a bad stretch for a while.
Right.
And Malaya was complaining to some members of the family. And she lost her temper or lost her control a little bit, and she was like seriously complaining, saying she wanted out of there and stuff like this, right? And then there was some stuff she said that really wasn't true, but I think she was exaggerating her position. Now, some members of the family took that seriously, and they decided on their own.
So Malaya was unhappy. She started to talk to some members of the family, and they took it up on their own to what? Take the kids out of a bad situation? Or was this a revenge for Malaya talking about what she discovered and learned? Another option, maybe? Just a thought.
To look into it, right? And she made a bad mistake. There was some people involved with her. They made a bad mistake thinking they were doing something good. And before they realized what happened, things blew up so quick. The Mounties moved in so quick with the dogs.
Right.
The searchers and everything started so quick that by the time they realized, oh, Jesus, what did we do? It was gone too far. They couldn't back out of it. I'm very sure at this point that Malaya dressed the kids and took them to the roadside and put them in a vehicle. I'm about 80% sure I know who was driving the vehicle. I know who's in the vehicle.
Okay.
And I know who transported the kids. I'm very, very, very close to being 100% on that one.
And I think I'm also very close to being 100% on that one. And I don't believe it. I could be wrong, but I do not believe Malaya took the kids to the road. I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't get a vision on that. I got a vision on after they were picked up and who was walking them to his barn, Uncle Larry, full of mechanics grease to his barn. And he gave the kids names. They gave the name because I asked Jack, who's walking you? And he said, Uncle Larry. The detective said, and I said, he said he was going to the barn. And he said, Leanne, do you think it was a real barn or a fictitious barn? And I said, I don't know, but I've now come to believe it's a real barn, which I've updated them on.
God, idiots that are still holding on to those kids, I want to say this. If you panic, we're zeroing in on you, and you know it. The last couple of days, they know we're zeroing in on them. And if you panic and hurt those kids, thinking that you're going to hurt them and get rid of them and not get nailed, you're wrong.
So Darwood or Darren, whatever your name is. Why are you threatening somebody else after you set Malaya up by your own admission to force her into a panic to see if she would take off with Meadow? So how can you threaten or accuse or criticize other people who have done exactly what you just did, dude? Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Listen and go back and listen to yourself, Darwood.
Because we're already very close to having you. Bring those kids to the light of day.
After Jack and Lily Sullivan's relative.
We're already very close to having you. Who's we? Who's we? Because I don't think you're working with the police. Who's we are almost close to having you. It sounds like a threat. Hey, Melissa, welcome in. Welcome into the family. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. For all of you that are joining the membership, just so you know, I do work as a psychic medium, so there's that kind of stuff over on that channel, In the membership, there will be that kind of stuff, just so you know, and other lives. But yeah, welcome here. We're a great group.
Relative Darwood O'Grady came forward with claims that their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, orchestrated their removal from the home. Stepfather Daniel Martel has revealed that Malaya has fled her mother's house and is now on the run, with Jack and Lily presumed to be alive.
Now, why would we believe Daniel just because Daniel says it's happening? Where's the proof of that? I don't know. Do I want to say anything? No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm sorry. I can't say anything about this.
Darwood, from Malaya's side of the family, but connected to Daniel through work, spoke to Sonny Austin and Charmaine Swart on It's a Crime and Shame YouTube channel, first appearing on Dolly Vision's platform, spinning a tale that's got tongues wagging. He's adamant Malaya handed the kids off to someone on the property's edge, a theory backed by Daniel's Facebook chat with A Crime and Shame, where he noted the kids.
Now, I said, and I have said this, and I did tell the RCMP this. My first call to the RCMP was May 8th with my vision. Okay. I don't know how many calls I've had now, how many conversations, I forget. More than a handful. Yes, I do believe somebody came in and escorted them to a meeting place, or they walked until there was an ATV or a car. I also was picking up on the black SUV that I never said anything about, so I'm not going to be able to claim that, other than I was picking that up before it was announced. But I also suggested to the RCMP that they go back beyond the 5 and that they go back beyond the date of, because I do believe that that person was scouting the back ways for trail markers to find their way into the backyard. And I have said that validation goosebumps. Okay. I got full on goosebumps validation. Just going to show you my full screen for a second. I've got full on validation goosebumps. Well, you can't really see in the light. Full on goosebumps. This is my confirmation. This person that was asked to pick them up, and I do not believe it was Malaya, just my opinion, was scouting a route looking for markers because it's dense bush. And that's why they might have been seen on camera. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying. And I do believe they came in through the back and that they came out the front. And I've showed the path here on Google Maps where there is a clearing to the right, if you're looking at the house from the road. So from the front door of the house, it'd be to the left. And if you're looking at the house from the road, it's to the right. There's a pathway and a clearing that was later reported by the news that they like to play there. And I told the officers that I believe that they were escorted alongside of the road down that path to where it opens up in the back to make their way towards the lake. And then they went left all the way where the boot mark was found by the telephone poles, which I said way back when. And then I pinned them in a location that I think was a temporary. I'm not so sure they didn't jump on a train either. I have not had time to delve into that. But there was either a car or an ATV or something. They did walk a distance and then they were taken by vehicle, I believe. But I want to explore the train thing just in case to rule it out. That's what I believe happened. Okay. And it's interesting that this is what's being said. It's just the perpetrator the focus is on Malaya. And I don't think that it's Malaya.
It's sent, tracked by dogs, vanished at the end of the driveway. Darwood's pushing this angle, hoping to jumpstart the stalled case, though he's skeptical of the Mounties' ability to follow through, despite reporting it to them. The day after the kids went missing, Malaya, her baby Meadow, and her mother, Cindy Murray, hightailed it to Wentworth. Malaya's mother, Cindy, then told reporters that the RCMP barred them from media chats. But a CBC reporter said that just wasn't true. They were only warned to mind what they shared to the media. The relative Darwood figures that Malaya caught wind he was onto her, and that caused her to fled to the Sipikanaktik Reserve, taking Meadow with her and fleeing her mother, Cindy Murray's house in Wentworth. So he figures that maybe she went there to snag a lawyer for cover as this case is heating up.
And then I believe
I have not validated this, nor have I asked the RCMP, nor would they tell me if I even dared to ask. Okay. But my suspicion is, if what I said about Malaya is true, I believe the RCMP know that and knew that from Malaya's own mouth at the onset. That's all I'm going to say.
the person that eavesdropped on me, I intentionally let them eavesdrop on me, and then I believe they directly called Malaya, and within a half an hour, Malaya had panicked and grabbed the baby, grabbed Meadow.
So you knew you were setting her up to do this. And you say on YouTube that you care about those children. And yet, Darwood, Darren, whichever name you go by, I don't even know if Darren's your real name, truthfully. You set her up to scare her to see if she would take Meadow but you claim to be worried about Jack and Lily's safety, and in the same breath you say, what did you say a few seconds ago? You kind of threatened somebody. It sounds like you're very pot calling the kettle black, Darwood. That's just, I don't know. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. I appreciate that. He also said somewhere else he believes they could have been across the border in New York and has all the faith in the university they would need to get and do something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Darren has some knowledge. I think Malaya also has knowledge that they haven't spoken about honestly in the public. So I think there's some stories going on all the way around.
And took off from Cindy's place, which is her mother's place in Wentworth.
Right.
And that's where she's been staying under 24-hour supervision by CPS. But anyway, she fought with her mother. Her mother tried to keep her there physically.
Another question I want to, or comment, if you will. He seems a little pro Darren, yet he's Malaya's family member. Let that sink in. Just let that sink in. I asked you to think about what motive he could have to come out and start. He's blaming his own family for something, admits he hasn't talked or seen Darren in years, and it's his son that knows him, but he's shit-talking Malaya and trying to set her up. In the same breath, saying he's concerned about Jack and Lily. I got questions, Darwood, Go Grady, Darren Geddes, Santa Claus, whoever you really are. I don't trust that you're actually Darren Geddes either, because I got questions over your story that don't make sense. Now, I also have questions of Malaya and Daniel. Okay, so it's not just Darwood. I think they're all hiding certain elements, is all I'm not going to keep saying is all I want to say. I just don't want to give too many, I don't want to say too much, but I think all three of them have some knowledge that they haven't been disclosing. Truth Seeker thinks that Darwood's a distraction. I thought this guy was really close with Daniel's older family members. I could be, Krista. I could be completely wrong. He said his son worked with Daniel, but isn't he not the second cousin to Malaya's family? I think he's like the third or second cousin to Malaya's family. I thought I heard him. It's a criming shame. I could be wrong, but again, we'll have to get caught up here. But I thought for sure he was a relative of Malaya's, distant relative. So, yeah.
And couldn't keep her there. And Malaya headed what I was told by the other family members who called me back right away, and that she had grabbed the baby and ran and headed for the reserve at Jubenacity. Why she would head for the reserve, I don't know. And I don't know for sure if that's where the chief of the Micmac Reserve, if it's his brother, that's her lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing I can think of in that, so what I don't know, I'll say I don't know. What I know, I know. Now, I don't know exactly.
Well, I don't know, Darwood. Aren't you the reason she fled? Should you not know? You set her up because you expected an outcome. So I think you do know the answer to that, Darwood. I think I call bullshit on that. I think you do know the answer to that. I think you do know why she fled. You just told us you set her up expecting her to do exactly what she did. What was she running from, and who is she running from?
Ran for the reserve, but the only connection I can think of is that her lawyer's there. Maybe she thinks she can get some kind of legal protection or whatever, because I think she realizes that the jig is up. And I think she realized that I knew more than I made an educated guess, and I think I was right, and it made her panic.
Daniel's been vocal about Malaya's mental state, saying the chatter is messing with her head, especially with Meadow in the mix. Belinda Gray, paternal grandma to Jack and Lily's biological dad, hasn't seen Malaya since Meadow's birth 6 months ago, fueling talk of postpartum struggles. Darwood on It's a Crime and Shame suggested Malaya might be at risk of self-deleting. So before the kids vanished, Malaya and Daniel were butting heads.
So Darwood is afraid of Malaya's self-deleting, so he goes ahead and scares her and puts Meadow at risk. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Not responsible. 1 iota. 1 iota.
Heads, and she was spilling her beefs about him to the family, which Darwood thinks pushed her to get Jack and Lily out.
What I think happened, what I'm pretty sure happened, is Malaya, they had a few arguments, they had a bad stretch for a while.
Right.
And Malaya was complaining to some members of the family. And she lost her temper or lost her control a little bit, and she was like seriously complaining, saying she wanted out of there and stuff like this, right? And then
the family didn't like what she had to say. Think about that. Think about Daniel's family maybe didn't like what Malaya was saying. Now does it start to make a little sense when you think about my theory of the case? Malaya is planning on leaving Daniel, like I said. Darwood's just said they were having problems. She's confronted. She does something to try to get away on her own. She is confronted. There's an argument. She starts talking to her mom and her family about some scary things she's discovered about Daniel's mom. I'm going to say it. And Daniel's family. I'm going to say it because I've already said it here. And I've already told the RCMP. I've already told Daniel on this channel. Maybe you should start looking at your mom and your brother. I was going to say sister for some reason. So, Darwood, who are you really working for? Darwood, are you really working for the RCMP? Or are you working for Daniel and his mom trying to scare the shit out of Malaya? Is that really what's going on, Darwood? Because that's what I fucking think's going on. I think, Darwood, you know exactly what's going on. And I think you're spilling some stuff that ain't exactly honest. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think he's trying to blame Malaya for Daniel's family's stuff.
There was some stuff she said that really was.
So yeah, you're saying yes, mom or grandmom's second. That's what I thought. So Darwood claims to be related to Malaya, but somehow he's going to betray his own family member and say something that's going to get back to her, so she runs scared. Make that make sense. Your own family, Darwood. Your own family. Now, if you thought it was Malaya and you wanted to do and be just and bring forward true justice, why would you come on the streets of YouTube and not just go see the RCMP? Third cousin, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah, his story is alarming. It's alarming because some of it is in line with my theory. I just think the characters, he's effing up. He's maybe deliberately switching the characters and the roles out.
True, but I think she was exaggerating her position. Now, some members of the family took that seriously, and they decided on their own. They decided on their own to look into it. Right?
Remember, I told you. Bad mistake. Listen to that. They decided on their own, as opposed to what? As opposed to what? They decided on their own. I want you to listen to the emphasis on that. On their own. In meaning what, Darwood? It wasn't your suggestion? Is that what? Why the emphasis? They decided on their own. I thought it was Malaya. Which is it? Was it Malaya or they? Who's they, Darwood? Who's they? I have questions for Darwood. If you're listening and I am wrong, I will apologize. Your story is not adding up for me. It has a lot of holes in it. If you want to come on and clarify, you're welcome to. But your story, dude, is not adding up for me.
On their own. They decided on their own to look into it, right? And she made a bad mistake. There was some people involved with her. They made a bad mistake thinking they were doing something good, And before they realized what happened, things blew up so quick. The Mounties moved in so quick with the dogs.
Right.
The searchers and everything started so
The
quick.
Mounties
But-
flew in so quick. Now, does that sound like a statement coming from somebody who want Jack and Lily to be saved? To be found? Wow, those Mounties came in so quick. They threw us in a loop because the Mounties came in so quick.
By the time they realized, oh, Jesus, what did we do? It was gone too far. They couldn't back out of it. I'm very sure at this point that Malaya
Yes, thank
dressed
you
the
for
kids
clarifying.
and
Oh,
took them
yeah.
to the roadside.
I did make that correct statement today, but in the past I had said he worked with Daniel directly, but yes, he cleared that up himself. It was his son. I think I did get that confused. Yeah. He stated on another channel, M's young girlfriends, thinking they were helping her, but it went wrong. Balea's young girlfriends. I don't pick that vibe up at all, but I could be wrong.
And put them in a vehicle.
I'm not getting it.
I'm about 80% sure I know who was driving the vehicle. I know who was in the vehicle.
It's me too.
Okay.
And I know who transported the kids. I'm very, very, very close to being 100% on that one. And when I finish finding out for sure, for absolute sure, then I'm gonna be able to find where those kids got delivered. But every indication through everywhere is yes, Malaya knows where they're at.
Okay. But why are you talking to YouTube and not the RCMP?
And her bailing today was another large indication to me, because I think she was informed very quickly that I stated a name. I inquired about a name, and I was eavesdropped on, and I dropped the name because I wanted to be eavesdropped on.
Right.
Because the person that was eavesdropping, I was very suspicious of.
I wanted to set them up. I wanted to set up a mom who was depressed, in your own words, who would run scared, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to scare her. I wanted to set her up. I wanted her to run with Meadow. I knew she was going to do it. Why? What motive would you have, Darwood? What motive would you have to want to scare Malaya?
Being involved. And before I got back home, I got the phone call that Malaya had grabbed the baby, panicked, and took off.
Logan, a cousin, told a TikToker the stepbrother's brother wasn't living in a trailer on the property, just Jenny, the stepdad's mom, who saw Malaya looking caught right after the kids were likely whisked away.
Well, here's my understanding on Janie. Malaya never thought that Janie was home at the time in the morning, that early in the morning.
In my opinion, yeah, I did.
Malaya was on the side of the road, and Janie showed up and surprised the shit out of Malaya.
She was on the side of the road?
Yep. I believe.
It could be, Lois, but the whole thing is what he's saying about her running and getting Meadow even true? I'm not going to say more than that. I can't say more than that. I'm just not so sure it even happened.
This is not fact.
Okay, speculation.
I can't prove it.
Okay.
I believe that
sure
Janie
can't.
just missed the kid transfer. I believe that Janie just missed the kids being put into a vehicle. She didn't know that Janie was home. She never thought Janie was home. So I think her plan was, when those kids went down the road, I think Daniel was sleeping. I think she was going to go back in, take the baby, and bail. But you see, Janie was home and got awakened and came out to the side of the road. And that's when you've heard Daniel say that she was kind of stunned on the side of the road and looking guilty when he came out, because Janie was already there, and that she was looking guilty and that she was playing with her phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to think about this. Let's think about this rationally for a second. If Malaya, as Darwood says, was afraid, was unhappy, and wanted to leave the relationship, why would you risk getting 2 kids out and not all 3? Why wouldn't you say, hey, I'm taking the kids, Daniel, into town to go shopping, and keep driving if you're afraid? Why would you do this big ruse, have people pick up 2, and then come back to get the baby? Like, no. Would any of you do that? If you were literally scared in a relationship and you were unhappy like Darwood's claiming and you wanted to get out of there, would you have somebody pick up 2 of your kids and go back later when your in-laws were there to get a third? Even though he's saying she wasn't there, Janie wasn't there. To me, I think I'd be like, I'm going to make arrangements to take the kids into town, and I'm going to let Daniel know I'm doing something for the day with them or something, and I'll be back at supper. And by the time he finds out that I'm not coming home at 6 o'clock, I'm already crossed the province line or whatever. It doesn't make sense that if she was running afraid and she was worried about the kids, then she would plan to get 2 of the 3 kids out. It doesn't. Well, that's what I picked up on.
Yeah.
So I think like Janie sort of caught her unintentionally. I didn't know she caught her. Like,
Yeah, I think she got caught stealing some from on the top because she was planning on leaving. And the ruse was a threat with Jack and Lilly because Darren's mom wouldn't take Meadow. That's his kid. Think about this. So Daniel's mom says, we're going to take Jack and Lilly until you return to us what's ours. And as per Darwood's own words, the next thing you know, the RCMP are there, and this thing just went sour real fast. What was a threat became a crime. It was already a crime, but in their mind, now it just blew the fuck up. It just blew the fuck up on them. And because the only person that had motivation to take Jack and Lilly out of there and not Meadow was Daniel's mother. Think about it. If you come up with another theory, let me know. But I'm getting like full on somebody's coming in here now. Is that a you again, Sebastian? And so that's why I said Malaya might have a real reason for not talking and running and hiding. And I believe, in my opinion, she told that to the RCMP at the get-go, at the very beginning of it. Hence, leave the property. Now, Darwood, by his own admission, threatens her and scares her, so she goes to get Meadow because she's scared now. They're going to take Meadow too. I think Daniel's mom is involved in an illegal drug business. That's my opinion. I've already told the RCMP that. And I think Malaya found out, and Malaya started talking. And they were not happy with her talking. And they threatened her with Jack and Lilly to shut her up and to scare her. And it went south real fast. That's my theory.
you know, she wondered what she was doing out the side of the road that early.
Right.
And from what I understand, the conversation, Janie never had much. Janie looked at Malaya and said, "What did you do?" And Malaya just stood there stunned. Now that's what I heard. And then,
Yeah.
Now this part.
You just drove back up and Malaya's at the end of the road and you say, "What did you do?" How did you get to that conclusion? Janie, what did you do? Janie, what did you do?
I can't prove because I wasn't there.
Right.
Darwood reckons that this was Malaya's shot at a clean break, sending Jack and Lilly off before bolting with Meadow. Jimmy Williams of Dolly Vision screamed in a live stream, quote, "Malaya is on the run with Meadow. Be on the lookout. Talked to Daniel last night. He said he would visit Malaya in prison," end quote. And these are the messages of Daniel Martel's YouTube account in his live stream. Daniel says, "Kids are alive. Polygraph exam questions were all on death and everyone passed. She has Meadow and is on the run."
Even Daniel saying, why is he offering that information? We all passed, but it was only about murder. Wasn't about kidnapping. Wasn't about threatening the kids to take them as ransom until Malaya returned her rugs or whatever she stole, or stopped talking, or stopped threatening to talk. No one, they never questioned them on that. Why is Daniel so open about that? She has Meadow on the run, not the real Daniel, someone says. I don't even know if it's the real Daniel. Derp is trying to set a narrative like CP did. yeah, it's interesting, eh? Very interesting that some of the people that may be more involved than others are the ones that are the most vocal. And yet it seems to be the people that are the quieter ones that most people point the fingers to. I'm not so sure that's the case. I'm not so sure that's the case always.
Run. Malaya is on the run from RCMP. What don't you get? Malaya knows everything. I want Meadow, not Malaya. It's not abduction. That's criminal investigation. It's missing persons case. Yes, she's terrified investigators are close. She couldn't stay around me because she would crack. I would find out. And this apparently linked back to his
Well, Daniel, for somebody that was so concerned about her well-being, you sure just put her under a spotlight, didn't you? Wasn't he the one saying, don't talk about her and worry about her mental being and what she might be able to do? Hang on, I gotta find where I'm gonna, what she might do to Meadow. Yeah. I'll call him a Shady Grady, a Shady O'Grady. Listen, you think for yourselves. I'm just telling you what I see in this story that sounds weird. Sounds weird. Now, the latest is he's homeless or something because he's come out to speak about it. His family's mad and his girlfriend kicked him out and he's homeless now. I don't know. I'm going to end it here because I was hoping to do more, but I talked a lot today. You know me. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to do my best to be on tomorrow. Like I said, the next week and a bit, please give me a little bit of grace with everything going on with finishing up the move and my dad's passing and making arrangements for all that. And, but I will be on a regular routine once I'm done with this. I'm going to do my best to be here tomorrow. I've got something going on Saturday. You're welcome, everybody. But I will be back. I'm going to do I'm going to probably do a members live tomorrow. And I'll tell you, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. The Liberace, the CIA thing, I haven't figured it out. I will do a members live probably tomorrow, if not on the weekend. And Saturday I'll not be here, but I will be available Sunday, Monday. Tuesday's a Canada Day holiday. And then we got to take a couple of days with my dad. But I would expect by the week after that, I'm going to be every day on Monday to Friday. My plan is to do lives Monday to Friday at 5 with Jack and Lilly rather. Sebastian, whatever cases of the day. Coburger. I know Ren wants to work on Coburger. Ren's not in here today. I want to work on Coburger and Gilgo Beach. There's definitely, I think, a serial killer out in Texas. We've talked about that, the Ladybird. So there's other cases. So we'll just talk about a few cases every day. And I'll do members lives on the weekends is my goal. Okay. So Monday to Friday, 5 the cases of the topic, like several cases of the day. Unless we have a lot to talk about in one case, we'll just like tonight specify one case. But if there's not a lot of updates on Jack and Lilly or Sebastian, we'll just talk about a little bit of all of them. Thank you, YouTuber, for gifting another gift. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. I really appreciate you all. I really do appreciate your support and everything. And so I will, that's the plan. Okay. And the other channel, Dear Libby, I have to decide because I know that's tied to my dad now a little bit more. So I don't know yet, but I'll keep you posted. Okay. Hey, Lewis, you got the gift. Yay. Thank you, YouTuber. That's wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for your support. I will most likely be here tomorrow. In fact, I would say definitively I will be here Friday. Not likely Saturday, maybe. Sunday and Monday, yes. Not Tuesday, and maybe the few days after is kind of like my daughter has to take her bereavement. She gets 4 days off from the hospital within 9 days, I think. So I think it has to be next week. But I'll let you know as we go through that planning, okay? Because we're going to do, like I said, just a specific like set things with my dad and honoring him and doing like watching and eating his favorite foods and watching videos and taking his ashes, and just he liked to golf, so just takes him on the 18th hole of his golf course, that kind of stuff, up to the cottage my family used to own and that kind of stuff. So he wants his ashes at Vero Beach, Florida, which we won't be able to do now because I can't afford it, but it'll be in the plan. And then I have 3 of my dog's urns with me here. I know I'm kind of like, I talk to spirits all the time, so it doesn't bother me. So I'll just keep my dad's urn with me here until we bury him in a private ceremony, maybe when I'm done traveling and taking his ashes to the various locations. And we'll bury him in a plot beside his family, his parents and his brother. So, yeah. So everybody, I love you all. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, probably more now than ever, because it's not that I didn't know I had a good thing. I just was so stressed and everything. And I feel like I'm coming out of a lot of this stress and this, trauma with my mom and the situation, what she did to my dad, if you will. And I'm just feeling like slowly, like I'm getting a little stronger with regard to that. Oh, no way, Truth Seeker. Oh, no way, Truth Seeker. How well do you know because my parents used to have a place, do you know Castaway Cove off the A1A on the ocean, on the island of Vero? My parents used to be there on Doubloon, and they own private beach. Like it's right down nearby by Driftwood, the Driftwood Hotel and all that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. If you know the Three Oaks land subdivision, my dad was the one that developed Three Oaks subdivision. That was the plan that his partner screwed him on. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. And he had multiple properties in Vero, and we had been going there for 25 years. My parents, before they decided they picked Vero, they spent like several winters, 6 months every winter, traveling throughout Florida, trying to decide on the best location. And Vero Beach, it is a small world. Vero Beach is the most spectacular, like Castaway Cove is one of the business bikers bars. Yeah. Biggest bikers bars, airboating ride. Yeah, absolutely. And you'll get a kick out of some of the pictures if you come to the live of my dad and I at the ocean at Vero Beach and going down to Hutchinson Island and having mussels. And we used to be able to do bonfires on the private beach when they lived in Castaway Cove, a gated community. And I used to sleep there in the room and just hear the ocean waves across the street. Vero Beach, if you would like big white sandbars, a beautiful beach, and not high, like there are no high rises allowed, and just like a small community. They have like Riverside Community Center, which is like all along the water. It's just an amazing community for arts and farmers markets. It looks like a little mini Rio de Janeiro. True Seeker, tell me if I'm a little bit off. Like I might be exaggerating a little bit, but the island sounds like a mini Rodeo Drive. Like it's very, very high end, a very wealthy community. Gloria Estevan has a bar there and a restaurant there. Ritzy area. Yeah, Ritzy area. So my dad was a land developer there and we lived there. My dad was a multimillionaire, my mom stole his money. But yeah, so I grew up privileged. I'm not going to lie. I grew up in a very privileged family financially, just not in any other way. My dad bought me for my 16th birthday a sports car. Okay. A sports car, a 2-seater MR2 sports car was my 16th birthday gift. Okay. My dad spoiled us rotten. He really did. When I was a teenager in high school, this is in 1980s. My dad's like, hey, I have $5,000. We're going shopping today. You got a $5,000 budget. Now that's 40 years ago. 40 years ago, you got a $5,000 budget. Okay. So, and my dad had style, like he would dress us when we would go on shopping sprees. Like he would just like, I've got some pictures I went through them last night, and some stuff he bought me. My dad had incredible style. Like it was like something else. So yeah. And I have pictures of him at the Driftwood listening to the bands. It's the only place that I know you can go on the ocean and listen to jazz bands and have drinks on the ocean and just like full on. Yeah. I also managed a real estate firm, many scandals, many politicians covered it up. The Good Old Boys Club. Which firm? Oh my God. Don't tell me. Not Sorensen's. You want to share? Because there's a firm there that I think is involved in title fraud that my dad was calling private investigators about before all this went down, which led me down a bunny trail that I thought maybe involved with that it was involved in some of this, but I don't know because I didn't pursue that. But I'd love to know real estate firm, because you do know I was a coach for Keller Williams International and I traveled to Austin all the time. I was fully licensed as a commercial real estate agent with the Ottawa Real Estate Board for my commercial land and subdivision development knowledge, having worked with my dad for 10 years. I sold subdivisions, like entire subdivisions for big builders. So yeah, so I know a lot about the good old club. I know a lot about real estate brokers. I did 25 years in real estate, and then I was a coach for years after that with Keller Williams. So I know a lot. And yeah, I don't know about Sorensen's, but let me just tell you, the title company that allowed my mom to steal the money, when I was on the phone with the IRS, they could not locate that company. Okay. They could not, the IRS could not locate the company. So I'm going to leave it there. There's a lot of corruption in that area. I've experienced it, and it's Torpy Group, you know, of Sorensen's. Okay. Torpy Group. I haven't heard of them. Yeah. Email me your address. I'll send you the book. It's in my car. Same game, different players. Interesting. I don't have a P.O. box. Can you send me an email, Truth Seeker? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was. I don't want to say anything here because there's lawyers and judges involved. But my dad had called a private investigator before all this went down. I think he found out about title insurance fraud. Yeah. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. The older brother was on the Florida Supreme Court. Interesting. Yeah. Well, the judge. So I'll tell you what happened. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. What happened is my mom's cleaning lady and my dad's cleaning lady of 10 years, I believe, was paid to keep my dad drunk for my mom, right? And she was the one that was also a hooker prostitute and had massage oils and guns. And when I was driving to Florida to get him out of the hospital, she wanted his bank card. They actually reported her to elders, and she came and started threatening me, 300-pound like sumo wrestler, like literally. So I got on that tangent thinking she's the one that's taking all his money. So I go into Marine Bank, one of the many banks he dealt with down there. And I'm like, okay, guys, like, did you see what was going on? Like, like I'm telling them the story, and they're like, I said, like, how would we know if he's paying her mortgage or her rent? So they go, let's go do a title search. I'll never forget. They pull it, they print it, and they're like, oh my God. And they show me the liens that this judge put. And they're like, how did she manage that? The judge worked. Okay. So you know the full story. My mom's left my dad the minute she had dementia after 50 years of marriage. They go through the separation of assets. He promises to give her this, this, and this. Then she steals $150,000 US out of his US bank account, to which he was on a work visa for the same lawyers that were all investors in the Three Oaks development. The ones in Vero Beach, he had fired from Three Oaks. They still owed him money for Three Oaks, and they were the investors in the new work visa he was down there for. I'm not going to mention the development names, but I have all the documentation, and they were all investors. Now, so was the lawyer who was his articling student in Ottawa, Canada here. He was also an investor. All the lawyers worked with my dad were all investors. The one in Ottawa also was his divorce lawyer. So knew my mom withdrew that $150,000 out of his business account. So what happened? He didn't know she was going to do that. That was his investment for his business partnership, to which his visa permit and his partnership agreement was based on, was his investment. So now he doesn't have the $150,000 investment. His check bounces because my mom steals his money. Well, the lawyer that was his business partner was his divorce attorney, knew my mom stole his money, and they still canceled his work visa, giving him no money. That same lawyer was supposed to be collecting money that my ex-brother-in-law owed him when my dad sold the building he owned, to which the Milano's Pizza was in. My ex-brother-in-law was supposed to be sending him $2,500 a month. That same lawyer, I was power of attorney on that agreement, removed the chattel obligation from my brother-in-law, removed that from him, stopped sending my dad the money, and then they stopped sending my dad the monthly money. They canceled his work visa. So they fast forward, they go to court. My dad goes to represent himself. He's a lawyer. He said, and he had just contacted me. That was June, Father's Day of 2018. I had lost contact with the whole family for a couple of years. He contacts me on Father's Day. I decide, do I want to get back involved? Do I not? Something was telling me, because my dad's brother and uncle kept telling me to talk to him through spirit. And I was like, okay, I got to talk to him. You know, something's wrong with my dad. So we reconnect. My mom loses the hearing on the Friday because she still wants things he had offered earlier. And he says, no, that was when I had an income. You're not getting it now. I have no income because of you. I've lost my income, which was millions of dollars. Okay. So now you're not getting everything you wanted. They lose in court. He's in Ottawa, Canada. And they want to have an emergency hearing. It's the Monday of the long weekends, the civic holiday weekend going into the Monday. My dad, being an alcoholic in Florida, is used to going into Walmart and corner store to buy his booze, didn't realize that the stores were closed. And he goes into a complete detox failure. Okay. So he calls me after the Friday. He goes, I got to attend an emergency hearing on Tuesday because they're afraid I'm going to leave back to Florida with all this money that I don't have, that your mom's accusing me of stealing. And they didn't win because they now want me to give her everything else. I got nothing left because I lost my income and my work visa. So I got nothing left to give her, and they lost that. Fast forward, that's the Friday. The holiday Monday, he calls me. I need to go to the hospital. My dad doesn't do hospitals. I get him to the hospital. The ER doctor says, I take him to the Ottawa General Hospital here in Ottawa. And the ER doctor points to his head and says, I've been doing this a long time. And he was salt, pepper, gray with a bald patch. I've never seen anybody in this level of detox before. 2 more minutes if you'd left him there, he would have been dead. Okay. We start detoxing, go through the whole detoxing program. Swear to God. He calls my mom and his cleaning lady and says, please get me non-alcoholic beer, because I was taking him back to Florida to support him in his detox. We walk in the door and she hands him brandy. Who do you think wanted him drunk? My mother. So before that, though, I call my mom. I say, Mom, he's not going to be in court tomorrow. He's in the hospital. Why didn't you fucking let him die on the floor? And what caught me was on the floor. How do you know he was on the floor? He wasn't on the floor when I found him. Like, what did you do to him? That's what she said to me. And then she hung up. I email a doctor's note and a power of attorney my dad gives me in the hospital, which he's allowed to. And he emails, and we have a doctor's note saying, we need brain scans. We don't know if there's been brain damage. He is not fit to make decisions for 2 weeks. We had an emergency hearing. Here are the medical letters to his attorney that was representing him in the divorce and was also a business partner. Okay. No decisions to be made. I show up for the hearing. They don't show up. I show up for the hearing. They don't show up. I show up for the hearing. They don't show up. I emailed the court clerk. It's their fucking hearing. Where are they? 4 or 5 days in a row. Now we fast forward, we go to Florida. I didn't know they arranged to meet him and had him sign everything over. In that time period, he was deemed not fit to make decisions, and we needed to make brain scans, not being diagnosed yet with dementia. And they had everything signed over to him. They cashed out the $200,000 equity that he had been paying in his life insurance since he went to law school. Then they had this same lawyer, the business partner, And this judge and the lawyers in Vero Beach, Florida, Johnson, yeah, Mr. Johnson, put the legal liens on his house in favor of her while they stopped sending the money they owed him. So when I get the call on my birthday, and then so I rekindle my relationship with my dad, I tried to detox him. She hands him the brandy, and all fucking thing goes to fucking hell from there. I spend the year, I go back and I visit with him a few times, and then I get a phone call on my birthday, December 8, 2019, from the cleaning lady. Your dad is not in good shape. He's in the hospital. He doesn't have any money. Can you send money? I'm like, no, I won't be sending money, but I'm going to call my dad. I call my dad. She has him Baker acted because she has connections with the sheriff's office. Okay. She has him Baker acted while I'm on the phone with him, has him hospitalized. I say, Dad, I'm coming to see you. Fuck sending you money. I'll be down there. I just need a week. I got to collect the dogs. I need an oil change. I got to pack. I'm coming down. I'm getting you out of the hospital. Okay. They read him his last rites, which I didn't find right away. And she thought he was going to give him the house. She wanted the house. So I drive down to Vero Beach. I'm in Virginia. And the social worker from the hospital calls me and says she wants his bank cards. I said, hell to the no. She goes, yeah, I know. We're calling and reporting it elder abuse. So doesn't she get mad with me? Starts showing up at the house with her 300 pounds, threatening me, literally. I get to the house, okay. She's taken the key out of the lockbox. She's changed the gate code. I had to break into my dad's house, okay, in the middle of the night after driving from Canada to Florida. And because she had asked me in that year prior, your dad keeps saying there's a really valuable piece of furniture. I'll show you what it is. She says there's a really valuable piece of furniture. Do you know what that is? I said, I have no idea. I get there. She's taken, while he's in the hospital, the screens off all the lanais because they're going to take the furniture out of the house because they think there's a valuable piece of furniture. None of the furniture was taken, but the screens were all off. Now, my dad lived on a reserve with gators in the backyard, and I drove with my 2 dogs and no lanai for them to run without the gators, and I had no money. And I get there, and there's a pile of bills and mail and foreclosure notices on all his houses with illegal liens in Florida in favor of my mother, and there's no law that allowed that judge in the United States to do what she did. The United States, if you're getting a divorce and you own properties in different states, there's not one state in the United States that allows you to put a lien on title in favor of yourself to protect your interest in the case of a divorce. But somehow this judge let it go. Go figure. Go fucking figure. From the same firm his business partners worked with. The same business partners that canceled his work visa worth millions, knowing it was my mother's fault. And that same lawyer then gave my mother all of the money, signed fraudulent title documents. Kelly Snyder paid for the forensic person. They forged his signature, not even his signature on the mortgage and title docs, okay? You know what I didn't, Truth Seeker? Because my attorney said you need to know what they know for it to be considered a breach and unethical. So at that point, I had so many other bigger battles to fry. It was low on the priority scale. We were stuck during the pandemic waiting for a trial. I had no money. We had foreclosure notices coming. I had past due bills up the wazoo. I'm trying to detox my dad. I'm trying to nurse him back to health. He almost died, don't forget. He was sick. My daughter's dog, I didn't realize last night until I was going through all those pictures. My daughter's dog slept on his shoulder and his stomach for weeks. He was really that frail. And I'm getting threatened. The police had to be called. They have access to the house. They have guns. We're Canadian. I've never seen a gun other than when my grandfather had a rifle and on a police person. I've never, like, and my son-in-law hunts. Like, and she had all of the passwords. I know. So anyway, it was, yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg, man. That is the tip of the iceberg and what we went through. But that's the crux of and Yeah, it was wild. She was feeding him drugs. She was trying to keep him high and drunk, so he wouldn't know what was going on. And yeah, don't give her any death certificate. No, no. In fact, the funeral home today said, given the situation, we have like it's only $100. We put a fraud alert on his social insurance number and stuff, so nobody can try to do anything with him. So anyways, and then she emails me, I won't steal any more money from you, after she was supposed to remove the liens, even though they were legal. If she didn't get enough out of the first house with the first lien, she was supposed to remove it from the second lien. She promised to, and then on the day of closing, she waited for 4 hours. The lawyer called me screaming. The buyers were waiting for her to show up, and then she just changed her mind, decided not to, and sends me an email. I won't steal any more money, and then takes and steals his verb to return. So yeah, welcome to the world of my mother. So yeah. And I have both copies of agreement of purchase and sale. That lawyer that was supposed to be representing him, that my brother-in-law owed him, he was supposed to collect that money. He removed that. So literally, they knew my dad had zero income, none. And so what's worse than that, I think I've told you this, is in that when he first reaches out in this court hearing and they don't show up, I have no idea that he's had them sign everything. Okay. And he's dementia. I have no idea. So we go on for a year. I have no idea. I'm visiting him, and I'm like, I have no idea this is going on. And it's just scary. My sister, I'm talking to him, and it's like, your sister and your mom, so they're separated, and my sister convinces him to send them $28,000 US for their deposit for the $2 million home they're in now. And you know what he had left in his bank account? No income, $5,000. They kept going and kept going and kept going. And he kept saying they stole his laptop. And at the time, I'm like, oh, Dad, like, you sound like you're exaggerating. Like, you sure, Dad? Like, that sounds like it's far-fetched. Oh, no, he was not far-fetched. They, this lawyer should be disbarred in Ottawa too. I had 6 attorneys in Ottawa look at it, plus I hired 2 attorneys in Florida, and they all said that this lawyer should be discharged and charged criminally, and should be disbarred. Yeah. So it's wild. And that's what I was starting to say. So in the meantime, that's all going on. He's got no income. So I know a few people in real estate. So I talked to a realtor. He goes, well, I said, he's like, I said, hey, do you know anybody that's, because he also deals in land development, that needs, like, my dad's got some money issues, like he needs a little help. So, like, do you have anything that my dad can get involved in? He's like, yeah, your dad does syndication and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I do actually. I have a client that just got the medicinal marijuana government contract, and he wants to sell it in the states, in the United States, that are legalized marijuana. He's going to grow it for the government of Canada. It's a multi-million-dollar contract. The contract is sitting in my office, $650 million US, signed in my house here now. And the same month that money was supposed to come in is the month they did this to my dad. And I guarantee you, in his naivety, he told them. So I don't know, because I'm trying to think of how judges and a judge and 4 lawyers would do this for several $1 million. Well, for $650 million, you might. So I don't know that came to fruition. I emailed the guy going, hey, I'm my dad's power of attorney. I'm taking over his business affairs at the moment. He's had some health issues. I have a copy of the contract. I'm the one that arranged for him to get this gig. Have you paid him? He never got back to me. So I don't know. I'm just putting the 2 and 2 together. Oh, so by the way, then it's COVID. We're in Florida. I go nurse him. It's COVID. Canadian government's like, get back to Canada. I have no health insurance. Can't pay his bills. My daughter says, like, I'm a nurse. I got you an Airbnb at Calabogie Peaks outside of Ottawa. Go there for 3 months. We go there. And then he starts attacking me because his doctor here wanted me to detox him now. She puts him on a hard detox drug. The one in Florida wants me to detox him slowly. I'm taking him to AA and I'm taking him off because he had dementia. When I got there, he was drinking 60 ounces of vodka a day from the bottle, literally on ice, because he was forgetting how much he was drinking. So I start detoxing him, take him to AA in Florida. Then we come back to Canada. His doctor here wants a different approach. Well, I find out that she should never have put him on that without being hospitalized because he went into some antipsychotic and he started attacking me. We got kicked out of the Calabogie Peaks. The police come and they take him to the hospital for an assessment. I think I already told you they sent him back once, and the second time I said no. And that's where he gets his dementia diagnosis. So he's in the hospital. The hospital's threatening me with this $30,000 a month fucking bill, which is illegal, but they were. And then I get this court order from the judge in the middle of the pandemic. I thought it was 10. I reread the order recently. 20 days to get to Florida and sell the houses. I'm in fucking Canada and it's COVID. And I got 20 days to get to Florida and sell the houses on an illegal lien. So I had to get my dad flown to Florida because he was in the hospital being diagnosed. And I think I told you he lost 8 pages from a doctor. They didn't like his answers saying he had dementia. So they withheld him at customs. He lost his flight. So we lost him in the night. It's just been, you have no idea. I could go on and on and on what we went through. But I'm not so sure that they didn't get many more millions than just what was written on paper. Because for the life of me, I'm trying to think of why lawyers would do what they did for a few $1 million and jeopardize their name, their reputation, and a judge and their careers, unless it's a fuck of a lot of money. I know my dad was a multimillionaire, but it didn't seem like in the papers from their divorce and settlement that it would have been worthy of that much money, but they all ended up working for my mother. Every one of them, my accountant, dad's accountant of 40 years, 40 years, ended up working for my mother, as did all these lawyers. You think she had some money in it? Krista, I have 600 emails of proof. 600 emails of proof. The police, I said, oh, we know there's a crime, Leanne, but because they're lawyers and judges, and it's international, and the way the Liberal government in Canada with the current laws, the chances of getting it prosecuted are 1%. We see exactly what happened, but the likelihood that they're going to get charged is 1%. So, yeah. So when I say I have evidence, like I had evidence, and I fought the police, Ottawa police, on it, and took it all the way up to the Attorney General's office for 5 years. That's when I stopped finally trying to get justice for my dad. When they say, yeah, exactly, and so is Karen Reed. There is corruption, regrettably, in law enforcement, in medicine, in every industry. And so I feel like I'm in this channel bringing the justice, hopefully the voice to the injustice and the perils and the shortcomings of the justice system. And in my dad's case as well, because it's out there. It's regrettably out there in every industry. There's good and bad. You have to do it. Yeah. So anyways, thank you for letting me rant. Now I'm going on almost 3 hours. I will see you all. I love you all. I will see you all tomorrow. You're helping me heal. I'm working, like my dad and I have been talking energetically. I'm working on the case. I'm going to probably have many more cries over the loss of my dad. But because I can chat with him, it's also giving me another motivation to help people in mediumship. Because just think of the peace of mind that everybody would have if they could channel their loved ones that crossed over afterwards. That's extremely comforting for me, and I think it would be comforting for most people, so love you all. See y'all tomorrow. Okay, be good, and just stay tuned. Click on the notifications for when I decide to do members live and all that jazz. Okay, in the next couple days. See you all soon. See you tomorrow for sure on the live. Okay, love and light. I think he is, Kitty. I think he is. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Love and light.